Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of ESL Open Cup Asia number 215. I'm of course host Live VIP, and with me I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, the lovely players before us as well. Exclamation mark B in the chat. If you guys want to have a look at the bracket today, we have a stacked bracket full of fine players. This is the first week in quite some time but we have a full roster of players. For those that are curious, last week players were returning from IEM Katowice. The week before that, players were leaving for IEM Katowice as well. So as a result, these past couple weeks have been a little bit more up in the air, but now we have our returning players who are traveling abroad. They're back, they're in Korea, and they're in this weekly online tournament. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hardled, we have our Chinese Protoss. Our Chinese Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Team Offside. It is Firefly. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the blue Zerga player, currently teamless, deserving to be on the team. It is DRG. Here we go. The PVZ is before us, and again, shout out to Firefly. Recently, of course, leaving the Platinum Heroes and joining a brand new team. A new team in many ways, but also an old team. Onside Gaming is no more. Onside Gaming was acquired by Team Vitality, and now they're being introduced as members of Team Vitality. But Onside decided to branch out a little bit. They have now a sister team, an offshoot, an Offside team. Team Offside does have players like Firefly, does have players like Rex as well, and I believe Control, if I'm not mistaken, as a streamer. So really cool to see that Onside is still trying to support as many players as they can with this offshoot Offside team, and we'll see how Firefly can perform in this new environment on his new team for himself. I'm here for it. I'm ready for a gate expanded decide, of course, standard opener out of Firefly. Meanwhile, across the map, DRG going for a hatch gas pool. Not forced to take the unnatural natural, just a standard hatch gas pool opener from our Zerg player. Everything is looking normal. I should point out again that DRG was not forced to take the unnatural natural. He's able to get his expansion where he wants it to be, a little bit more of a comfortable opener out of DRG. And we are settling on into game one. Again, check out the bracket. It's stacked. It's beautiful. I recommend it. We'll get into the bracket after this series, and then we can kind of sink our teeth into the rest of this round, or the rest of the bracket and the tournament overall. A lot of big names. Hero is here. Dark is here. A lot of the Korean Terrans, Zergs, and Protoss all come together on a weekly basis. I will say that I believe Cure is MIA. Cure has yet to return, and I don't think that Bjorn is here either. So we're missing a couple of the key Terran players. They could just be on vacation. I did mention before that after IEM Katowice, a lot of players may go on a bit of a break. They may take some time off after a very intense tournament, and they may be looking to just, you know, get a bit of a breather, try to recover and reset their minds a little bit, and just reset in general, and be back with a, you know, with a fresh start. After IEM, this is a bit of an off season. I say a bit of an off season. The GSL qualifiers were held a couple of days ago. Fun fact, we will be casting the GSL qualifiers via replays, I believe most likely tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on our schedule, and GSL replays will soon be upon us, so bear in mind that we will be casting those on the channel, so do look forward to it. Do look forward to the GSL coverage that we'll be having here on the CranKy Ducklings. GSL qualifiers alongside the GSL group stage as we did last season. Meanwhile, back at home, Firefly did open up Stargate, but interestingly enough, he went Phoenix first, not Oracle. Now, with this Phoenix first opener from Firefly, he's going to be able to keep DRG in the dark. Does supply block him for a moment as well, and that means that the follow-up tech is going to be hidden. We'll keep our eye out for a Twilight Council. We'll keep an eye out for whether or not there's a Forge as well. We'll see what Firefly does get up to. Does go for an Oracle after that Phoenix. Back at home, DRG opening up +1 melee. Is going for a Ling heavy composition, and there it is! With the hidden tech, it is not a Twilight Council, it's a second Stargate. We are going double Stargate. What exactly? Are we rushing into Sky Toss? Are we going double Stargate Void Ray or double Stargate Mass Phoenix? Looks like Phoenixes will be the option of choice here for Firefly. Across the map, DRG getting ready for Oracle Harasses. Got Spores on the way. Queens are in position. Third base is getting up and running. Little does he know that this looks like Phoenix charge. Again, looking at the tech here, we have a Forge. We have a Forge on the way for +1. I believe this should be leading into +1 melee, into Twilight Council, into charge for charged up Phoenixes, but we'll see if that's the case. Lings, they do arrive. They get eyes on the Forge at least. And not much else. The Forge can throw DRG off the scent. He has no idea what's going on in the main base. We have a Baneling Nest in production as we speak, so it's going to be Ling Bane. DRG cutting workers at 52, just under 3 base saturation, is looking to amass Lings. Is looking to try and punish that third base, try to bring it down. And honestly, a Ling Flood would be beautiful right now. There's nothing to support. There's only Phoenixes, and picking up mass Ling, one Phoenix at a time, it's not really viable. It's not really possible here. Firefly is going to be in a lot of trouble in a matter of seconds. And here come the Banelings. Here come the Lings. Now, the Banelings can be picked up, but again, the SimCity here is not good enough. There's just not enough on the ground. There's one Adept. One Adept, one Shield Battery. This third base should be going down. Meanwhile, there's that Twilight Council that we spoke about. Again, I believe this is going to be 4 charge lots. But before we can speak about Zealots, we have to speak about the Ling Bane. And here we go. We're rolling in. Phoenixes, they are not here at home. They're out of position. And a Sentry's on the way. Ooh, we do try to crash in. Overcharge is going to be popped to Bailey's. They trying to get into the mineral line. So far, good defense, but oh, we crash in. We crash in nonetheless, and we take down every single probe here. Cannons are finishing, but a little bit too late. 15 workers have gone down. Firefly will protect his third, but I can't say the same for everything else here. Yeah, the cannon's going to be going down. Pylons, adepts, probes. We had 15 dead workers. We're going to be going up to 16, maybe even 17. Yeah, as the Lings, they just flood across the map. And there is no protecting this base, not anymore. Yeah, there's just nothing here. Again, the Phoenixes are out of energy. They can only pick up 1 unit at a time. They're trying to do what they can, but alas, they don't shoot down. GG gets called, and just like that, DRG takes game number 1. GG. Again, unfortunately for Firefly, the biggest weakness of his build is a Ling Flood going Mass Phoenix. As you can imagine, just struggles so much against these small individual units, and DRG, he just overwhelmed his opponent. He snowballed out of control, and I don't even think DRG fully was aware of what was happening. He never scouted the main base, he never saw the Stargates, he never saw the additional Phoenixes. He did see the Forge, but that's all he saw. And you saw he just doubled down and just hammered down that Z key once he realized that it was Mass Phoenix. Knew that, of course, reinforcing with Lings would break the third base then and there. GG. Well played. GG. And with that, DRG does take a lead in this series, but it's a best of 3. We have opportunities here to come back. We can bounce back here, of course, but the pressure is now on Firefly. Let's go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have our red Protoss player representing Team Offside down in this series, but looking to fight back. It is Firefly. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the blue Zerg player representing himself, currently teamless, but leading the series 1-0. Udamas, one more is all he needs. It is DRG. The one true dog himself. Let's go. As we do have our gate expand set up here from Firefly, going to be scouting across the map. Alas, DRG has already gone for his hatch first. I believe that was a 14 hatch timing. No extractor trick. Regardless, hatch first nonetheless. Oh, sorry, no, that was just a regular hatch first. From DRG. Going into a gas, going into a spawning pool, standard opener from our blue Zerg player. And really my eyes are on Firefly. Once again, my eyes are on the Protoss player. Firefly, he can be a very tricky player, as we saw in that last game. But as we saw in that last game, he can be a very tricky opponent. And as a result, Firefly, I'm sure he will not go double Stargate Mass Phoenix, but he will go for something else. He will go for something different. The question becomes, what exactly is it going to be? My eyes are on a Firefly. Meanwhile, across the map, DRG went for a really interesting opener. He went for a hatch pool gas. It wasn't that late of a gas geyser, but it was a slightly earlier spawning pool than we're used to. So I'm curious if there's a reason for that. I'm curious if DRG plans on being a little bit more aggressive with that. We'll see. As queens are on the way, and a handful of lings should be in production as well. Pro being forced back. A couple of lings on the way. Meanwhile, a big shout out to Shema. Shema, papi, Shema. Thank you so much to Kashim93 in the chat. Thank you so much for resubscribing here for 5 months. Gracias, papi, gracias. Hope you've had a great week. Hope you've had some rest after an intense IM Katowice, and hope you're enjoying your day. Hope you enjoy your day, papi. Shema. As for now, we do see DRG going for his third. He's just going to be taking his third base, joining up on 3 bases as well. Nothing too crazy. It is going to be a Stargate opener at a Firefly, as to be expected here against Stargate. Into, do we go Phoenix again? I would love a Phoenix first, just like the previous game, and then transition to something else, into something like Flavor Eps, or a Charge All-In, or Immortal Production, or something slightly different. And there it is, Phoenix first. Again, I like this just because it's a really good way to play with the series, to make things look just like game number 1, and to deviate in the follow-up, and to go for a different transition instead, to keep the Zerg player guessing. Constantly guessing. That's the power here of Protoss. That's the power of opening up with a Phoenix. And there it is. Robo next. This is what we spoke about. It's going to be a Phoenix first. For all DRG knows, it looks just like game number 1. When really we're going for a giga fast Robo. This is crazy. Now this could be for a couple of different things. This could be for an Immortal All-In. This could be a fake third base into just a 2-base Immortal based All-In. But with a later Robo like this, I'm not really feeling it. This could be for a fast Bay into a Disruptor drop. This could be fast Colossus. I'm feeling a fast Robotics Bay nonetheless with this opener. It would make the most sense. Meanwhile, back at home, DRG is happily droning up, getting his spores up and running, rotating his queens over, trying to be ready for the eventual Oracle production. There's that Bay that we spoke about. Again, rushing into a Robo like this does lead into a faster Bay. That's the only thing that really makes sense in this situation. And this should be for either Disruptor drops or getting into really fast Colossus production for a very fast push. For a very intense push. I'm leaning on the side of, I don't know. I was gonna say Disruptor, but I'm not entirely convinced. We have the Veil, we have the War Prism on the way, which means this should be for Disruptors. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Meanwhile, back at home, safety Roach Swarm being thrown down by DRG at around the 4-minute 30 mark. We're going to be droning, saturating, a handful of lings are on the way, and DRG has yet to see an Oracle. No Oracle. That is a little bit suspect. Here come the Adepts. We do have lings to defend. The Wall-Off is not in time. 2 Adepts do shade into that Mineral Line. They can one-shot drones. They get 1, they get 2. 2 drones will go down. Good damage done here by Firefly. And there it is. War Prison Speed, Disruptors. Disruptor drop is on the way. Now, the reason why I wasn't convinced by this is because it's going to be a really late Disruptor drop. So we do have a lot to defend. We have Queens out, we have Lings, we have access to Roaches. We have a stable economy and a stable army. There's a bit of a give and take here. On the one side, this is unexpected. On the other side, this is later than a standard Robo opener into a Disruptor drop. So a little bit later, but more of a surprise. This needs to get damage done. We're now getting into the rest of our tech. We're getting to the Forge, Twilight Council, +1, Blink. All of that is on the way, that is true, but this third base is so much more exposed here. We do have a decent amount of Adepts, thankfully, on the ground to protect it. And here comes that Disruptor. Meanwhile, Lings, they do check that third base. We don't commit. We'll pull back. Prism has arrived, and the last thing DRG is really expecting is going to be those Disruptors. Quick reaction out of DRG. Ooh, does lose 2 drones. Going for more. Ooh, massive connection. 10 workers go down. Very nicely done. The Phoenix will fall, but good damage nonetheless. Very proactive there by Firefly. And suddenly, this is worth it. This opener has been worth it because we're not done. Those disruptors are still alive and they can still gain more value. We can see DRG responds with a Spire. This should be for mutas. Before we can talk about the mutas though, that is a massive gateway explosion. 9 gates on the way. That's going to be 11 gates in total. +1 charge, not blink on the way. Nova's going to be going off. 4 more drones go down. Oh, the Prism does take a lot of damage. Prism takes a lot of hits, but we're going to charge our Archon as a follow-up. And what's it going to hit first? The mutas or the ground army for the Protoss? You can see here we're amassing those zealots. And Firefly, he should hit soon. Again, he has to wait for charge though. Charge is still on the way. Zealots have been spotted. Roaches are being amassed. A good scout from DRG. He's not just banking up and going into mutas. He does see the ground army. He's respecting it. He's going into roaches. He does respect the army. We're up to 4 disruptors already though. Archon's on the way. DRG, he does have enough in the bank for 6 mutas. The Spire is now done. +1 air attack is on the way. The army has been spotted. And he knows. DRG now knows he cannot make mutas, he has to make roaches. Otherwise he will die. Otherwise it will all end here and now. Lings are trying to catch some reinforcements. 4th base has been thrown down. Lings, they head towards the natural. The wall! The wall is not a wall. Lings, they flood into the natural base. Probes are going to be going down. At the same time, Zealots, they wreak havoc at the 4th base of DRG. Ooh, decent connection on the Ravagers. Meanwhile, across the map, the Lings, they're actually not getting damage done. The cannon buying some time. Does buy a lot of time. File's going to be connecting with some of the army, but honestly, Firefly is getting damage done. He's breaking through. Good engagement. Good Novas as well. All 4 disruptors are still alive. Can we protect the Prism? The more Prism. No. It's going to go down. Big pickoff. The Prism does fall. Meanwhile, across the map, Zealots have been cleaned up. Clutch warp in there by Firefly. He barely lost any workers. 4th base is getting up and running. Firefly, he has an economic advantage. He doesn't have to push in. He doesn't have to push in. He can back off and just macro up. Yeah, he's content killing a hatchery. Content killing the 4th. That was going up. The connections! Big connections on the Ravagers. Good focus firing. We do get 2 disruptors. There's 2 left. DRG falling back. Firefly gonna be mustering up his army, getting ready at that 4th base. We do have a shield battery overcharge. DRG feels pretty all in. He's down to sub 3 base economy. Trying to reestablish that 4th. No droning here from DRG, just maxing out on Roaches, Lings, and Ravagers. There's only 2 disruptors. Sorry, a 3rd disruptor has arrived. 1 Nova still in the chamber. At the same time, Archon drop head towards the main base. And we have a massive Roach counterattack here at the 3rd. DRG trying to pull his opponent apart. Oh, that's going to be 7 drone kills. It's going to be a lot of economic damage. The Nova, will connect. We'll be trading out that disruptor. Big warping across the map. The 4th base is going to be going down for DRG. Meanwhile, he cannot break the 4th base of Firefly. Firefly forcing back his opponents, wreaking havoc here across the map, and he's just getting further and further ahead. DRG still has a massive army. He's coming back in. He gets the 4th. He pulls Firefly back home. He gets a kill in the 4th base. Does burrow. But there's detection. No. Big connections. DRG plummeting in supply. Does kill 19 pros, but he's bleeding out so many roaches, and he still hasn't dealt with the main. Still hasn't dealt with the War Prism. Prism turning back around. Zealots being cleaned up. Firefly still has a worker lead. DRG down to 49. DRG still very much so all in. Firefly, can we hold? That is 5 disruptors. Soon to be 6. 6 disruptors on the way. Firefly, he is looking pretty. Here we go. Archon drop is going to be forcing back some of the army. Firefly chilling here in between these bases. Looking like, again, pushing disruptors is so difficult. Pushing into Novas. How many disruptors? 6. You could argue maybe too many disruptors. At this point, Immortal production would be a little bit better just to round out this army. But, I mean, as long as we can connect with these Novas, it's going to be fine. And Firefly even goes for a drop. Spots of roaches. You can see GRG still not droning, by the way. Well, still not saturating his 4th. Nova goes off on the roaches. DRG gets eyes on the new 4th base of Firefly. Oh, the Biles! A decent connection. They were okay. They were okay. Ooh, oh my god. GG gets called with the final Nova, and Firefly will tie up the series 1-1. Let's go. Let us go. GG, well played again. A beautiful build there out of Firefly. The disruptor job did pay off in the end. The disruptor follow-up paid off. It was able to catch DRG with his pants down, did so much economic damage, and he was able to hit before the mutas could come into play. Remember, in this game, DRG went for the Spire. He was planning on going mutas. He even invested into +1 air attack, but because of how crisp the eventual timing, the push of Firefly was, DRG could not make use of that Spire. Firefly didn't even know there was a Spire on the way. He didn't even know about the hidden tech of DRG. Didn't matter. DRG had to respect the push of Firefly, and the disruptors were just a little bit too much in the end. Likewise, the Ling run by from DRG also didn't really do any damage. Killed like a probe, if that, didn't really do too much. Did, you know, force defensive reinforcements, defensive warp-ins, but that's all it really did. It was not enough to slow down the tide, to stop the tide that was Firefly. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Side Delta, forcing the ace match. We have the Chinese Protoss player, the Red Protoss, recently returning from IEM Katowice. It is Firefly. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing himself, being forced into this ace match. Can he fight back? It is DRG. Here we go. This is game number 3, the final game of this series. Now, I would love, once again, 3 games in a row to see Firefly go for a Stargate Phoenix opener. I would love to see that happen. Again, just the idea of, I mean, Classic does this really well. Hero does this as well, where you open up with either a Phoenix or a Void Ray every single game of the series, and you follow it up with something different every time as well, requiring a different response. We had a Phoenix opener into double Stargate Mass Phoenix in game 1. We had a Phoenix opener into a Disruptor drop in game 2. Here in game 3, what do we get? On a map like Site Delta, we could be seeing a Phoenix opener into Glaive Adepts. We still haven't seen a Charge based all-in or a Faster Immortals. We do have things on the table here for Firefly. We'll see what he does decide to go for, if he even goes Phoenix first again. Here it is, Gate Expand into Cybercore by Firefly, standard opener. Likewise, Hatchcast Pool from DRG. Here we go. Oh, lettuce? Ah, gibbage. As interesting, based on this pylon placement, this looks like a Twilight Council. This does not look like a Stargate. So we are mixing it up once again. There it is, Twilight Council opener. The reason why I said that is because the pylon was placed behind the mineral line instead of out here on the right-hand side. So this is going to be a more aggressive opener from Firefly, but it's going to be more obvious, is what I should say. More obvious, but it's going to hit faster, going to hit harder. We'll see if DRG can get a read on what's going on. Third base is being taken. With this Twilight Council opener, this could be Glaive Adepts if we pull out a gas. If we don't pull out a gas, this could just be a DT opener into an Archon drop into a third base. I'm leaning towards Dark Templar, as we have yet to pull out a gas. Adepts, they threaten to shade it towards that main base. Just keeping tabs here on DRG. Overlord's poised to go into the main. Lings on the left-hand side as well. We have pulled out a gas. We only have 2 and 2, which means that Glaive Adepts is on the way. Now, because we pulled out a gas, this should only be 4-gate. 4-gate Glaive Adepts. We have 2 gateways here on the low ground. We have 1, soon to be 2 gateways here in the main. There it is. So 4-gate Glaive Adepts, this is a very standard, I say standard opener, it's very light aggression here. We're going to be getting across the map, we're going to be looking for some economic damage, but this leads into a third. This leads into an expansion here. Meanwhile, very early Bailey Nest, DRG looking to go for a bust. A very fast nest here from DRG. Also goes in with the Overlord, does confirm the lack of Stargate, otherwise we would have seen the unit by now. Adepts are getting caught out. Good catch here from DRG if he gets one of the Adepts. Up the kiting! One Adept does fall. Overlord gets a full scout of the main base, and we do confirm the Prism moving out, as well as the Twilight Council and the researching. So this is going to be a tight hold. The standard way to open and to deal with this is with Roaches. Link Bane, it is possible to defend, but the Banelings have to keep up. The Banelings, they have to keep up with the Shades. There it is, a handful of Banelings are on the way. The defense here is going to be on a knife's edge as DRG is amassing more Lings, cutting workers at 39. Cutting workers, not taking any extra gases. Adepts a shade towards that third. We do catch some of the Adepts. 2 of them will get surrounded. Big pick off. Every Adept does count. Third base is on the way. DRG, he does collapse on the Adepts. Does catch them out. Clutch microing, clutch juggling there out of Firefly, but we will still deal with this. DRG is perfectly safe and sound. He has minimized his losses, dealt with the Adepts. This opener hasn't been worth it. Firefly being a little bit cheeky there, does trade as efficiently as possible with those Adepts, but across the map the Lings are getting out of hand. They get us around here on the sentries. 1, 2 sentries go down. Lings, they collapse on the Adepts as well. Prism arrives just in time. It looks like Firefly will defend that third. But again, these Adepts needed to get some economic damage and they haven't. Which means DRG is getting further ahead. He is stabilizing, he's droning up, saturating his bases, taking his gases. Lair is finishing up. Roche Warren is done here at the natural. And there's still pressure on Firefly, and to be fair, he still has Adepts. Still does have them. There we go, the Adepts, they do commit to the shade towards that natural. They do get surrounded. Lings are being cleaned up. You can see the Glaive Adepts again, they do fare well against Pure Ling. We shade into the main. Adepts shading towards that third base as well. Damage is being done, drones are going down. Again, Firefly is not out of it yet. Does shade into the natural. Oh, no target firing at the natural, unfortunately. Does get a couple of drones. 5, 6 workers go down. Prism drops into the main. Again, DRG is keeping up for the most part. Does lose 7 workers in total. That is damage, but bearing in mind, Roach speed is finishing up, Baneling speed is finishing up, plus on melee halfway done. DRG has been droning. Now, thankfully, this damage has kept Firefly in this, and Firefly even takes a worker lead, but his ground army is still lacking. He needs time. Because of the Glaive Adept opener, +1 is delayed. Charge is delayed. Immortal production underway. Firefly, he needs time here. He needs to keep DRG busy. So far, he has done so. Has been able to. Adepts, they do just threaten shades, keeping DRG busy across the map. Firefly just amassing his immortal-based army. We do have 2, now 3, soon to be 4 immortals. Temple Archives for Archon production. Charge is in the midst of finishing up. At the same time, though, DRG has been able to saturate all 3 of his bases, and he should be cutting workers at this point. Almost 4 base saturation here for DRG. Is now focusing on amassing Roach Ling, and should soon be counterattacking. Should soon be counterattacking. Good target firing out of Firefly. Once again getting 5-6. Oh my god! 6 workers go down, forcing DRG to re-drone once again. Again, the initial Glaive Adepts didn't do much damage, but the follow-up, this has been quite successful. It's been quite successful as DRG catches an Immortal. Oh my god. Does catch an Immortal. Roaches, they do get cleaned up. Was that worth 1 Immortal though? That was what, 8 Roaches? And now we've gotten up to what, 4 Immortals. Archon production well underway. And now Firefly is getting ready for his own move out. Speaking of though, here comes DRG, does collapse on the army, the Banelings! They crash into the Zealots, they crash into the Adepts as well. The Immortals, they're all on their own. They're all exposed here, and they're gonna be shut down. DRG collapsing on this army. Catching Firefly with his pants down. And even though Firefly is forcing this back, again, the damage was done. Beautiful Baneling connections on the Zealots. The Immortal count cut in half. We were soon to have 6, now we're down to 3. And Firefly, he's stuck at home. At this point, Firefly is stuck at home, and DRG, he's going to be able to just focus on Roach, Ravager, Ling Bane. He can rebuild, remax his army. And Firefly, he can't move out. Cannot move out. He's stuck defending, stuck turtling on 4 bases. And just doesn't have the best army to turtle. Across the map, getting more damage done. Kills a couple more workers. Ooh, but Banelings, they crash into that 3rd base. 17 probes go down. Ay, ay, ay. Not like this. You know, one of these days I'll be able to see my monitor. Feels bad, man. 17 workers will go down. Big Ling counterattack here at the 4th base. It looks like Firefly is forced all in. It's all or nothing for Firefly. He has a comparable army, but he doesn't have a bank. And we collapse on this. The Immortals again, they're on their own. Barely any support. Good dodges with the Prism. But it looks like DRG will clean this up. Fully surrounds the army, takes down the Prism, and there's nothing left. The Zealots, the Immortals, they go down. We do have damage being done by the Adepts. They're once again killing drones. Like, the Adept harass has been good from Firefly, but that's all he's had going for him. That's all he's had. Ah, no, we're rallying into the army. Another free Immortal. We have a recall, but it's not going to be good enough. And GG gets called. DRG will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to DRG for taking the series 2-1. Did have to fight for it. It did go all the way to the Ace match, which I do appreciate always for a longer series. So a shout out to Firefly, but does meet his end a little bit early on in the tournament. Firefly, we usually see him go for deep runs. Unfortunately, his run ends early here against DRG. GG, well played. With that, congratulations to Dongwei-gu. And we do have to take a moment here to go over the bracket and to figure out what exactly has been going on. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. We do have quite a lot of updates here, and we'll try to keep up with everything that's been happening. We do see that Amiauj, who we casted a while back, up against Balance. Winner goes up against Dark. Winner of that goes up against Nightmare in the quarterfinals. So a spicy Dark versus Nightmare, potentially, most likely Dark versus Nightmare series there. Looks like a lot of fun. Scrolling down, we have Bunny versus Hero. Once again, they keep facing off. They keep facing off time and time again. The ex-CJ players, a beautiful TVP going on there between Bunny and Hero. It's such a shame that Hero and Dark are on the same half of the bracket. They are both favorites in this tournament. We'll see if anyone can stop them. From facing off against each other in the semifinals. Scrolling down a little bit further, the lobby was just posted and Classic versus Creator is underway. Creator did take down Stats 2-0. As to be expected, again, Creator is more informed. Stats is still finding his footing. Stats is still recovering and trying to get back up to where he used to be skill-wise. Still not quite there, but is working on it. As we scroll down a little bit further, we have DRG advancing onto the quarterfinals to face off against the winner of Young Oliveira and Björn. Oh, my apologies. At the start of the tournament, I was like, Björn is missing. I missed him. I was like, Björn and Kira aren't here. Kira isn't here. Björn is. So Björn is going to be favored against Young Oliveira. Do wish him the best of luck. We've casted Young Oliveira before. He's a fun player. He's a great player. So wish him the best against Björn. And we potentially have a rematch between DRG and Björn. They have been facing off a lot in recent times. Björn defeated DRG in the IEM Katowice qualifiers. And they recently faced off, I want to say, was it in KSL or ESL Open Cup? I think it was in KSL, right? Hold on. Korean start, because I remember casting them. They faced off in KSL, and yep, DRG got his revenge, and DRG 2-0'd Björn in this week's Korean StarCraft League. We casted them a couple of days ago over the weekend, so Björn may have beaten DRG in IEM in the qualifiers, which was back in December. Meanwhile, less than a week ago, DRG 2-0'd Björn. So that would be a really fun rematch to see if Björn can get his revenge, or if DRG is able to maintain his dominance over Björn. So that would be a fun series. There are other English casters out there as well. There are other broadcasts going on. It's ourselves. Koka is casting in French, I believe, and I think Wardy is casting in English. I don't know what series he's covering. Let me just double check. He's casting Bunny versus Hero. There you go. Thankfully, Bunny vs. Hero is being casted by someone. It's a really good series. Oh. It is a really good series. So I do look forward to the results of that. So if you want to tune in to Hero versus Bunny, again, that is being covered by Wardy. Meanwhile, we have our own series. We're going to be following DRG into the winner of Björn and Oliveira. That's going to be where our attention does lie. Meanwhile, any other potential matchups here? Nothing that I can see. I mean, Classic versus Creator, PvP, currently ongoing. Bunny versus Hero over on Woody's channel. And again, I believe Dark is still waiting for his opponents. Let me just double check. No, so it looks like there may be a result here. Amialge and Balance, they may have finished up and they may be mid-series against Dark. Still yet to find out. Still figuring that out. All right, well, I guess in the interim, we're going to be going on a short break soon. Going to be going on a short break to try to allow for the videos to finish up and try to figure out what exactly is going to be coming up next. Just catching up with the chat. Twilight Council pylons just look different than Stargate pylons. Believe me, chat. I mean, they do. What else is happening in the chat? Hoping Beyond and Young Oliveira finishes soon so we can get straight into the next game. Oh. It looks like, well, we just got an update. We just got an update. Beyond did take down Young Oliveira 2-0. So Beyond versus DRG is up next. Is going to be coming up next. Vetoes are currently underway. I'll just message some players. Was this a Twilight Council opener? Yes. See, Papi, see. Was Glavedet opener. Glavedet. Mi papi, here, concha su madre. Cálmate, papi, cálmate. Cálmate. Hero. I mean, Hero is favored over Dark. Like, I love Dark, and I hope to get into Dark versus Hero. Hero is favored over Dark, but they go back and forth, and usually it's a really fun series nonetheless. I think, regardless of who wins between Dark and Hero, I think I favor them over Beyond. But actually... yeah, I think I would say that Beyond is favored here in the lower half of the bracket. I mean, we can have a look at the bracket as well. Beyond is a big name, of course, here in the lower half. As I say that, there's still Classic, and obviously DRG. I mean, I just went on a bit of a tangent here about how DRG did 2-0 Beyond a couple of days ago. Now, if you were here for that series, you would know that Beyond went for 2 base all-ins, 2 games in a row. 2 games in a row. If you remember, I was... referring to Hon Mono because Beyond was actually practicing some Hon Mono builds in KSL, and some of them they were all-ins basically. We had a 4 racks 2 base all-in where we pulled the boys. I think that was on Alcione. I can't quite remember, but there was a 2 base 4 racks all-in from Beyond, and likewise we also had another all-in as well in game number 1. I remember the 4 racks was in game 2. So Beyond was hyper aggressive over the weekend. I'm curious if we're going to be seeing that kind of play style again from Beyond, or if he goes into something a little bit different against DRG in the rematch. I'm curious. Again, there are a lot of names here that can compare to Beyond, like DRG, like Classic. So it's not set in stone as to who will make it through. Creator as well. I also should reiterate that Classic versus Creator in the PvP could go either way. It could go either way. I think what I do love, though, as we're getting to the quarterfinals, is that really I could see any of these players winning. I mean, Nightmare has been on a tear recently. If only there wasn't a Zerg player. Like, if it was only Protoss and Terran, I'd be like, yo, Nightmare's got this. But we spoke about this before, about how these past couple of weeks, Nightmare, he's been beating Hero and Classic and Creator and Beyond. Like, Nightmare, he's been taking down all these players. But PvZ is where he struggles most, and Dark is soon to be up against Nightmare as well. So it's a little bit brutal for him, a little bit. Unlucky. From here, though, we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break, and when we return, we will have Beyond versus DRG. It looks like they're just getting their vetoes underway. We'll be back soon. See you then. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that brutal OSC, because we have returned with our next series, with our first quarterfinals match. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of site Delta, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Beyond. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Zerg player representing himself, currently teamless. He just took down Firefly 2-1. It is DRG. Here we go. I'm ready for it. I'm excited. I'm ready to sink my teeth into some DRG versus Beyond action. Now, again, just to reiterate, if you are tuning in the midst of the break, we're diving into ESL Open Cup Asia 215. We're here in the quarterfinals, and this is a rematch to what occurred over the weekend in the Korean StarCraft League. In KSL, we saw Beyond versus DRG in the semifinals, and we saw that DRG was able to take down Beyond 2-0. Now, as a reminder, as this is a CC first, very greedy, very economic opener here out of Beyond. But as a reminder to that series, to what occurred over the weekend, Beyond went for all-ins. He went for two-based all-ins time and time again. Hyper-aggressive play against DRG in both Game 1 and Game 2. I now remember. So he had in Game 2, he went for a 4-racks boy pool. He went 4-racks Marine, two-based all-in, pulled the boys. That's all he had. Meanwhile, Game 1, it was a Hellbat all-in. It was a Hellbat-based all-in instead of a 2-racks opener. And DRG defended against both beautifully. I expect to see something different, and we already see something different here out of Beyond. And going for a CC first, a very economic start here to the game, can give him a bit of a boost into the mid game, can go for a faster TC, and go for a more macro-oriented build compared to what we saw over the weekend in the Korean StarCraft League. So I imagine that Beyond will have a different approach overall, and we'll see if DRG can hold his own. Again, I always refer to the previous big series that they had even before that, which was the IEM qualifiers, where it went all the way to the ace match, and DRG, he was so close to qualifying, so close to knocking Beyond out of the qualifiers, but barely didn't clutch it out. He was up 2-1, and the series slipped through his fingers in Game 4 and in Game 5. It was a brutal series, but a fun one nonetheless. And again, there's a bit of history between these two. Link Scout comes in, gets eyes on the rack setup, on the factory, and we have a 1-1-1 follow-up. Okay, economic opener into an aggressive follow-up here from Beyond. So it is going to be a straight-up 1-1-1. Do have our add-on swap for Heli in production, do have the Tech Lab on the way. This should be leading into an add-on swap into Banshees thereafter. So very aggressive build here from Beyond. And he's going to have to get damage done with this, because he's delaying his third TC in favor of Heli in production and not Banshees. Are we going for a Hellbat push? This kind of looks like Hellbats here. We'll see. Again, no medevac is going to be a Liberator on the way here by Beyond. Hyper aggression coming out once again. I thought that he was going to be calming things down and going for something more macro oriented after their last series. That's not happening. Still hyper aggressive. Aliens, they poke, they prod, they check the third base. Overlord threatening a dive. Looking at the vision, we saw everything. We saw the researching sim. Big scout. Big scout there by DRG. He confirms the 1-1-1. He confirms how late the third is. He should be going for a safe opener. In a couple of seconds, we should be seeing a Bailey Nest before the lair. We should not be seeing double Evo Chamber. If we see double Evo Chamber, then we're going to be in some trouble. That is a second and third racks. Again, very aggressive here out of Beyond, a very delayed third base. We'll see how DRG does respond. We're reaching that 4-minute 30 mark. It looks like he's going lair first, which is okay. Lair first is okay here. Wouldn't be the worst thing. Again, I'm worried that he shouldn't go double Evo Chamber. That would be devastating. There it is. Lair first. It should be leading to a Bailey Nest. This is okay. There it is. Bailey Nest is in production. And this is a 2-base all-in. Straight up, there we go. We have the 4th and 5th racks. 2-base all-in out of Bjorn. He's still on that 2-base all-in hype train. This is what we saw. We saw 2-base all-ins in general from Bjorn a couple of days ago, and he's still on it. Hyper aggression. And DRG went for a safe opener. He's still going into double Evo chamber thereafter. But again, this isn't as greedy as DRG could have been. The question becomes, how much will he have to defend, and when will we stop droning? I'm okay with droning up to 66, droning up to 3 base economy. But any more than that, and I would be very concerned. Now again, DRG, I believe he hasn't confirmed the all-in. He saw the aggressive follow-up, that's true, but he hasn't confirmed how all-in this is. He only has a piece of the puzzle. There we go. We're amassing links as we speak. Bailing speed is in production. +1 melee. Bjorn, he's built up towards 2 tanks. I believe we should be pushing with 3. I believe the 3rd tank and the medevac should be somewhat lined up. And Bjorn is soon going to move out. Now, again, the bailiness is going to be done in time. 1-1 will not. 1-1 is going to be done after the first fight. So that's an investment that isn't really going to come into play. We're being too greedy! Hydrogen thrown down. The 4th is okay. We've droned up to 71. This may just be too much. Bjorn, he's rocking up here. Clearing up creep. Pushing forward here with his tanks. DRG needs a little bit more time. And have we been too greedy? I think DRG has been a bit too greedy. We'll see if he can hold. Tanks are sieged. Bailings are under fire. And Bailings being denied one after the other. And Bjorn with a massive army. Bailing speed kicks in. The connections. Ooh, good connections here on the Marines. Good kiting out of Bjorn though, as we do deal with most of those Bailings. One tank goes down, but the other does survive. And Bjorn can keep pushing. Queens are coming in to reinforce. We're holding. We're desperately trying to hold on. The Queens are going down. We're running out of transfuse. And Queens are falling one after the other. Once again, we collapse on the army. Links from behind, but we run out of Bailings. GG gets called. DRG was just too greedy, and Bjorn will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, DRG droning up to 77, which is 4 base economy, which is again just droning up too much. He teched up towards a Hydrogen as well, which never came into play. DRG, he just didn't know about the 2 base all-in. He saw the aggressive follow-up, but he just was not aware of how aggressive it was. And DRG, he was caught with his pants down. He was caught being too greedy. And the 2 base of Bjorn does work out. He does pull it off. GG. GG, well played. Let's go. With that, we're getting into game number 2. Ooh. We go. This game 2 is going to be taking place, again, on Alkione. A much larger map. Let's go. Much larger map in the map pool. It does deter 2 base all-ins, but again, as you did mention, so far, the last 3 games these two have played against each other, it's been non-stop 2 base all-ins from Bjorn. At first they failed, but now finding a little bit more success, and maybe our Zerg player is a little bit humbled, and maybe he'll be being a little bit less greedy and respecting his opponent a little bit more. But here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have our blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Bjorn. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player representing himself, currently teamless. It is DRG. Best of 3 does continue. And And DRG going for a hatch first. Beyond, this is not a bad map for a CC first once again. Just because of the longer rush distance, because of how large it is, because of how unlikely we have aggressive openers. And yep, Beyond going for the CC first. It is, oh, never mind. Beyond changing his, oh, I think that was a mistake. No, we have the money. Oh, a bit of a misstep there by Beyond. He pulled back a little bit too soon. It looks like he, that was meant to be a shift queue. That was meant to be a shift queue back to the main, but he accidentally moved commanded back to the main base instead. So a bit of miscontrol there out of Beyond does mean his CC is later than normal. So a bit of a shaky start. Not the worst thing in the world, but slightly inefficient there out of Beyond. Meanwhile, it's going to be a hatch gas pool opener by DRG. And Beyond going for a somewhat CC first. But again, as I was getting into, CC first are a lot more common on Alcyone. We've seen Beyond do it, Maru, Cure, Spirits, anyone who's anyone has gone for CC first on this map. So we do settle in towards the mid game. Or past the early game into the mid game. The question becomes, does Beyond go for a 2-base all-in 4 games in a row? Does he go for it 4 games in a row here? So far, we're 3 for 3. We're 3 for 3 for 2-base all-ins. Do we have one more? That's the question. We probably do. Again, I don't like a 2-base all-in on Alcyone. We spoke about the longer rush distance. We spoke, or I mean, some of the other features of this map. There is a Xel'Naga in the center, so if the Zerg player has control of it, we do scout the all-in well ahead of time. It is more wide open in general, a little bit easier to engage. So I do worry for Beyond if he does commit, but we'll see. I mean, it just worked, right? Did just work. Behind this, Beyond going for a 3rd CC for Starport, economic opener for the first time in a long time. Beyond, he's making a 3rd. Let's go. 3rd base on the way, going for the add-on swap, going for Cyclone first. Interesting. This should be double Cyclone into Hellion, which we have seen quite often by players like Cure specifically. Cure is very fond of Cyclone into Hellion because you can shut down these Overlords. Overlords gain map control, threaten the queens, and just have more of an imposing force in the early game. Ooh, but that is a 2nd factory. That is a 2nd factory on the way. Which means it's mech. Oh boy, Beyond pulling a bit of a Maru here is going to be making it happen on Alcyone. There's the add-on swap to get into a 3rd factory as well. I hope you like Cyclones, because we may only have 2. We may have Hellions on the way behind this, but we will have many more Cyclones on the way. Many more on the way. Meanwhile, DRG is still in the dark. He does see the first couple of Cyclones with the Overlord, but as I mentioned, going for a double Cyclone opener isn't the most unheard of thing. When it comes to bio play. Like, it's still very much so viable, so DRG hasn't seen enough to tell him. He hasn't seen enough to confirm the mech. There it is, Hurricane Thrusters on the way. If DRG sees a 3rd Cyclone, then that's a tell. A 3rd Cyclone would be a tell. Ling is coming in, we get eyes on the army, but again, this doesn't really confirm much. Doesn't really confirm much here, as we do see DRG behind this going for a Bailey Nest, going in towards a lair. That was a Bailey Nest first, I believe, so a much safer opener this time out of DRG. Delaying his lair in favor of the Bailey Nest. Fun fact, this build from DRG keeps you safe against Hellbat all-ins. Which isn't here, so not the best start out of DRG. As things, they confirm the additional Cyclones. We have confirmation. DRG should be aware if he was looking across the map. More Cyclones on the way. DRG immediately throws down the Roach Warren. Now he knows. Now he has confirmation. Roaches are soon to be in production. Until then, just Ling Bane. Ling Bane Queen. Ling Bane Queen here from DRG. Beyond, of course, revealing his army. Does clear up some of the creep. before being forced back. Getting up to 5 factory production. And I would say that Beyond has map control for the time being until those roaches come out, until we have a more solid force against this army. We catch out the Lings! The Lings, they do get caught out, and they all get roasted here. They get annihilated by those Cyclones. Good catch by Beyond. DRG is still droning up. He's on 3-way saturation, getting his 4th up and running as we speak. We'll see how DRG can respond to this. For now, he's just stuck at home. He's just stuck at home here, just amassing more roaches, amassing more Lings. Just waiting for his opponent to overextend. If Beyond doesn't, then he's free to transition into tank production. Still not quite there yet, working on his 4 TC. Good kiting here out of Beyond. The creep is receding. Very efficient trades, and we have reached critical mass of Cyclones. How many do we have? We have 19 Cyclones. We got 4 more on the way. Ay, ay, ay. Not like this. And TRG is just being forced further and further back here. Again, his ideal, like the goal here for DRG is try to lure the army onto creep, but Beyond is being so careful with his army. Kites all the way back, trades well against the Lings, against the Banelings, barely loses anything. Again, without a surround, DRG cannot contest against this. Beyond kiting over towards the left, good lock-ons as well. Bleeding out a couple of Cyclones. Does bleed out a little bit. Once again, the Banelings cannot connect. I'm afraid to look at the unit loss stat. That was, what, 7 Cyclones for 53 Lings. Ling run by does get some damage done, but there's that transition we were speaking of. We are going into tanks. So we're done producing Cyclones. I mean, we're still making 2 at a time, that's true. But now we're transitioning into tank production, to wall off, to turtle up, to get to establish a 4th base, to establish a 5th, and to cut the map in half. At first, it's about the pure Cyclone, but then as the game progresses, we do want a more robust army. Ooh, and I assume that we would be defending with those tanks, but no, we're pushing forward. A very aggressive position with these tanks. Now, DRG is maxed out, that is true. But looks can be deceiving, as a mech army is more efficient. The soup does sometimes lie, especially when roaches are involved. It is inflated supply, but can we catch out the tanks? Can we catch out the Cyclones? So far, we do take down a handful of them, but the tanks are just shelling away at the army. Massive connections there from Beyond. Massive tank volleys. Beyond does trade well. Bailey's doing good for a run by. Beyond does react in time. Just getting a really good engagement. And Beyond, he's closing that gap in supply. Gets on top of the hatchery. Will force a cancel. At the same time, DRG trying to go for another run by. We have reinforcements back at home. That was a kill. That was a kill, not a cancel on the hatchery. 300 minerals down the drain. And at one point, DRG was up 40 supply. Now he's up 30 supply, and he may catch some Cyclones. Not bad. Oh, does get us around. Big moment here for DRG. For the first time all game, he does catch out these Cyclones. He does outposition Beyond. Doesn't get all of them, but trades out a couple. But Beyond doesn't care. He's going for a base trade if DRG commits. Beyond, he has arrived. He takes down this center base. DRG, he races back home. Through the tank shots. Oh, God. He's being slowed down. Tank ball is going off on the Ravagers. The third hatchery has fallen, and now we're going for the fourth. We do catch out the tanks. Pretty good trade there for DRG, killing all those tanks, but he loses 25 drones. Killing the tanks was nice, but it's not worth losing the entire mineral line. 26 workers go down. DRG down to 3 base saturation, if that. He's down to 3 hatcheries. Does have a backup 5th, now 4th on the left-hand side. Gets 2 more tanks. But Beyond takes the supply lead. Takes lead in supply. Now the CC on the way to get a 5th. A little bit wasteful there by Beyond, but overall Beyond, he can afford to be wasteful. Meanwhile, DRG has finally taken up the Hive Tech. With Hive Tech, he now has greater access to spellcasters. Vipers are going to be a big part here of the defense for DRG. He can still take a fight, especially with these 3 Vipers. He can abduct, he can Blinding Cloud. And there could be another moment where Beyond does overextend. There could be another moment like that. The problem here is that, again, we're getting into a more tank-heavy composition, which means we're going to be slowly pushing forward. Less opportunity for DRG to catch Beyond out. Ling Runby does deny the gold at least. Oh god. But not like this. As Lings are caught out by the Cyclones. And we are transitioning into air. We have 2 more starports on the way. This could just be for Liberators. We could even try to go into Mass BC. We don't really have the upgrades for it. Liberators most likely what comes next. Rock's being knocked down. And we have those 3 Vipers. DRG, he still has a chance to take a fight. It's going to be an uphill battle, but DRG, he can take a fight, maybe another from there. And heavily reliant on his ability to outposition, outmaneuver Beyond, and to make use of those Vipers. Speaking of, now that we scan, now that we see the Vipers, we should be incorporating Ghosts. Like, pure mech is good, but Ghost mech is better. And here we go. DRG taking some big tank shots to the face. Even the Yoinks aren't the best there for DRG, trading out Banelings. 3-3 in production, DRG able to establish himself on 4 base economy. It's okay. Beyond has a bank, DRG doesn't, which is a little bit scary. It is +1 ship weapons to help out those Liberators. They're pushing in. Decent Blinding Clouds, but there are so many tanks. Oh my god. The tank line is insane. We threw down 3 Blinding Clouds and it didn't even matter. Far too many tanks. The Vikings have arrived to shut down those Vipers. That's one way to deal with them. And now we're pushing in. We do catch out some of those tanks. Not a bad trade there by DRG, but he's being overwhelmed. Remember, Beyond is the one with the bank. DRG isn't. He runs out of steam. GG gets called, and Beyond will take the series 2-0. GG. Beyond, he gets his revenge in this series from that KSL series from the weekend. Game 1, DRG was just too greedy. It was just straight up too greedy. He just didn't recognize the all-in that was coming. Here in game number 2, just really good trades out of Beyond, really good engagements, just really making sure that he's so meticulous with his Cyclone positioning, his Cyclone control. We saw him gain so much value initially with those Cyclones, and it wasn't just the value that he was getting, it was the map control, the lack of creep. So little creep spread there from DRG because of how aggressive Beyond was, and Beyond did snowball out of control. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Beyond as he does advance on to the semifinals. And does he have an opponent? That is the question. Is there an opponent ready and waiting in those semifinals? The answer is yes. Oh my, we have some updates. We have some updates here. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back of yourselves. We have Dark up against Nightmare in the quarterfinals. They're currently mid-series. I don't know if they're being casted by anyone. Hopefully, Wardy is covering that. Fingers crossed. As we do have a completion of Hero versus Bunny. Went to the ace match. Big shout out to Bunny again. Bunny versus Hero is always a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun. Always a treat. I love casting the two of them face off. Unfortunately, we couldn't quite cast them this week. But regardless, A solid game there, a solid series from Hero and Bunny. Hero, he's in the semifinals waiting for his opponent, and we have confirmation. Dark versus Hero up next. Dark versus Hero is about to begin. I have the option to join Dark versus Hero, and I would love to. Personally, I would love to cast Dark versus Hero, but we have been following Beyond. We have been following the lower half of the bracket. We casted, of course, Firefly versus DRG into Beyond, and we should be following Beyond into the lower semifinals. On top of that, if we didn't cast it, I don't think anyone would. Yeah, Wardy, he is jumping on Dark versus Hero, so as much as I would love to cover it, if you want to watch Dark versus Hero, Wardy has you covered there. We will be following Beyond into Creator again. Otherwise, no one would be casting this series. So we'll do our duty. We'll stick with Beyond, and we'll follow him into the semifinals versus Creator. Again, especially when there are only 2 casters, we do want to try to split up and cover as much ground as possible. Want to cast as many players as possible as well. So that is what our plan is. It is our current plan for where we are headed. Just messaging some players, letting them know. Sorry, just messaging some players. Just messaging some players. All good, all good. All good. Now it's time to catch up with the chat. Catching up. Beyond playing mech? What? True, it is more of a rarity to see Beyond playing mech, but a lot of the Korean Terrans have been mixing in, or like maybe sprinkling in mech is the best way to put it. I think the only player that's consistently been playing mech is Hero Marine, Big Gabe. He's been all about the mech. But outside of him, Clem does it like once in a best of 5. Like Maru, he does it as well. He whipped it out at IM Katowice, if you guys recall. Maru was doing it. If Maru is playing mech, then Beyond is playing mech. The two of them, they come hand in hand, and they practice a lot. They play together a lot. They share strategies a lot of the time. So if one is doing something, typically the other is doing something similar as well. I don't think I've seen Cure. We've seen Gumier play mech. Ryung's played mech. I don't think I've seen Cure whip out mech recently, but I could be mistaken. I haven't casted Cure's group stage of IEM yet, so I'm not too sure what he whipped out there. So I'm still a little bit in the dark as to what Cure did fully at IEM. But yeah, I think he's one of the few. He's one of the few Korean Terrans that hasn't hasn't fallen to the dark side and embraced the mech as much as others. Not yet, at least, not yet. Unless I missed it. This is big game mech, not turtle mech. Kind of like it's very common if you've been watching the Korean Terrans, where they're just hyper aggressive with their mech, opening up battle mech, then they transition into tanks. Eba is up laddering. Why don't the Europeans play in Korea? Unfortunately, the Europeans are unwilling to play on ping. Like, the Koreans are willing to play on ping, Europeans not so much. Feels bad, man. Except for Showtime. Big shout to Showtime. It was, I think, the month of January. Showtime was actually consistently playing in the ESL Open Cup Asia. So much respect to Showtime. He's like the only European to do so. Hasn't been back since IM Katowice, but again, if you look at those brackets, then Showtime, he was the only European to dare traverse the land of Korea. Again, I think it was just for January, maybe the first week. Yeah, I think just January. Maybe the last week of December. Maybe. See Tallybo in the chat. Are you still in Poland? Yes. I'm staying in Poland until next month. Until March. Then I'm coming back home. Then I'll have my camera. It's all good. We'll have our camera back. If Vlad is frozen, he's in Poland. See, Babi, see. That's how you know. It's so cold here, Babi. It's so cold. I'm frozen, Babi. I'm frozen. Ah. Not like this. Not like this. But yeah, I would say the biggest takeaway from casting in Europe is European casters have it so easy. I have to, I mean, because I'm living in Australia and nothing is Australia friendly outside of the Korean weeklies and like the Korean events. But casting from Australia means that ESL Americas, for example, is in the morning. I say in the morning, it's like at 11 a.m. You have the European tournaments, which is at like 2, 3, sometimes 4 a.m. in the morning. Then you have the Korean events, which are 8 p.m. right? So because of this, there's no easy place to sleep, especially if we have the European events ending at around 6, 7, 8 a.m. So if I wanted to cast everything, it's just so difficult. My sleep schedule is all over the place. And to be fair, I do it. I'm not complaining. I do it anyway. It's just a little bit harder to try to micromanage my sleep schedule and adjust it on the fly when I'm in Australia. Here in Europe, it's so easy. it's like playing on easy mode, Papi. It's like, okay, you have a cast at like 10 a.m., you have a cast at like 8 p.m. and you're fine. And I don't know why, but I'm more willing to just, what I should say is that it's easier to cast a lot of the Korean events by replays because, for example, KSL, which is something that I can usually cast on time without any problem. KSL, they release replay packs like minutes after the event ends. So there's no like you have to wait like a couple of days or like a week for replays. No, it's released minutes after. So because of that, it's so much easier to do a KSL replay cast than it is a European replay cast. Because you have to wait so much longer, and players, they're not accustomed to actually giving replays to the organizers, so you have to chase them down, and it takes extra time to actually chase down players, and they don't want to give you their replays and all this stuff. So KSL is so much more accommodating for a replay cast, which is why we've been doing KSL by replays here. Meanwhile, ESL Asia likewise is, because we usually have reliable coverage and reliable casters here. We also get replays from ESL Asia really quickly as well. Sorry, not ESL Asia, ESL Americas. That's it, ESL Americas. So specifically, having to do ESL Americas and KSL by replays is so much easier than ESL Europe from replays, for example. Like, I have to wait like 5 days to get replays from ESL Europe. Like, it's ay. From the other regions, though, it's much easier. So, yeah, good stuff. It feels a lot more seamless. That's the one thing that I'm enjoying right now, and that I'm going to be dreading when I go back to Australia is once again just having a much more patchy sleep schedule, or just, you know, sleeping like 4 hours here, sleeping 4 hours there, sleeping 4 hours there, which is how I would usually do. just so I could cast everything live. But with that, we're going to be going on a short break. We haven't been missing anything. Creator asked for a little bit. Creator, he asked for some time. Creator, he asked for some time, so we are going to be chilling for a little bit here. We're going to be going on a short break. And when we return, we will have Beyond versus Creator. They're just going to be conducting their vetoes once they have returned. I think Creator, he's just like quickly getting some food. He asked for 10 minutes basically, and we've been vamping for 10 minutes, so it's fine. It's fine. Just been vamping. Frozen is a good movie. I still haven't watched Frozen. One of these days. One of these days. One of these days. Am I moving to EU soon? Oh, no. Unlikely, unlikely. Just here to visit. Just here to enjoy the scenery. Take advantage of my IEM trip. That's the thing. I mentioned before that I don't think, like, the IEM was great, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I'm not gonna be able to make this a yearly thing, as much as I would love to. Not gonna be possible unless like the CranKy Ducklings explodes in popularity and we can afford a flight every year. But I don't think that's gonna be possible. My first time traveling abroad since 2018, so it's been many years of saving essentially through COVID, which allowed for this trip to be possible. Then I'm gonna have to save for like what was that, like 6 years? I'm gonna have to save for another 6 years. In 6 years' time, I can go to another IEM. Let's go. Let us go. I can send you KSL replays an hour after they're over. I mean, sorry, I just mentioned that KSL replays I can get minutes after it's over, right? Like, that's what's so good about KSL. That's why it's easier compared to some of these other events. KSL starts at like 11 a.m. Yeah, like KSL doesn't start bad for European times. Like, it's not bad at all. It doesn't feel bad at all. But here we go. Looks like our vetoes are done. Our vetoes are finally done, and we are getting ready for our first semifinals match. Here we go. Game number 1. Going to be loading into Alkion. And if you're in the chat, predictions will be open, so you can place your bets on who you think will take the series. Will it be Björn or will it be Creator? Here we go. I'm just setting up those predictions. Here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkion, and we have our blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. Ooh, it is Björn. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss, the red Protoss player representing Club NV. It is Creator. And if you are in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets in the chat for who you think, who you believe is going to take this series, who you believe is going to come out on top. Will it be Björn or Creator, the Terran or the Protoss? Up to you to decide. Hold Hold on. Predictions. Here we go. Again, Creator, of course, recently coming back from his little vacation. If you were following Creator on Instagram, you would have seen the Creator. He went to Japan over the weekend. He did go to Japan, which is why he was not there for, I believe, KSL, but he was there back at home in time for ESL Open Cup Asia. He was here back in time for ESL Asia. Creator, I'm sure, enjoying his time abroad, now has returned and now is ready to get back into the thick of it. So far, a really good run out of Creator. He just took down Classic. Classic, who I would say is more of a favorite player overall. Classic has been brought low, and Creator looking strong here in the PvP. But can he keep up with Bjorn in a Protoss versus Terran? That is the question. That is the question. I want to say that we've seen Creator beat Bjorn recently. I want to double check here. I say recently, like I am Katowice was a massive chunk of time out of StarCraft for us casting. Yeah, so we casted Creator 2-0 Bjorn. This was in ESL Open Cup Asia 200, number 200, which was quite some time ago, to be fair. That was quite some time ago. Most recently, they faced off in 213, where they went to the ace match, but Bjorn did come out on top. So far, Bjorn has been Creator 2 times this year. They've only faced twice. We'll see if Creator can fight back, as we are going for a Rax expand into our factory. So an economic opener out of Bjorn. Creator, he just probe scouted. He did not see the CC, so he's in the dark. He didn't see the gas either, so he doesn't quite know what kind of opener we're working with. We can see that it's economic. Creator, he's in the dark. He's going for a proxy pylon with a Twilight Council opener. Dark Shrine, DTs, Pappy. Let's go. Okay, so it's going to be a Twilight Council opener here out of Creator. Bjorn, I believe, yep, he skipped his SCV Scout, he skipped his Reaper Scout. Very common. It's very common in Korean TVP to skip your SCV and to skip your Reaper and to just be greedy like this. It is risky, don't get me wrong, but that is why Creator can get away with this, get away with a proxy Dark Shrine. As we did mention, very little reason to proxy the pylon unless we're going for a DT opener. And Bjorn has no idea what's going on. Did open up double Cyclone, is moving out across the map, and Creator, what do we have to defend? We have a Shield Battery, a Stalker, an Adept. Depending on the control, this could be enough. The Adept will confirm these Cyclones. We do get eyes on the opener. We'll have to warp in defensively back at home. There it is, second Stalker does rock up. We do have enough. Meanwhile, across the map, Bjorn rushing into a third CC. Third CC after the starport. Very greedy here out of Bjorn. It means he has very little to defend back at home. He has a bunker on the way. The Dark Shrine's still not quite done. But we have the potential. Oh, the Raven is on the way. Not like this. This is why DT openers are so uncommon. Raven openers are very common in this matchup, so it's so risky to go for this. Raven has arrived. But we are pushing out. We are moving out with said Raven, which means there is potential with those DTs. There is potential. The Raven moving out for auto harass, not staying back at home, does avoid the Zelnaga. Meanwhile, the War Prism is on the way, which means these DTs are a little bit delayed. They are quite delayed here. Oh wait, no, my fault. We did warp them in. I was like, where are they? We have one here in the natural. We have one trying to get into the main base. Unable to, though. We're going to get a couple of SCV kills. We're going to get a mule. Raven does make it back home. 3 SCVs, not ideal. I'm sure we were hoping for a little bit more. Second DT was just chilling here outside. And from here, we're going into Disruptors. Oh, sorry, Colossus. Colossus should be on the way. One more Dark Templar into the main base. There is no eBay. And I believe Creator hasn't seen how greedy Bjorn has been yet. No, sorry, he has. He saw the third CC. They can't quite do much about it. Forces a scan here in the natural. Gets 2 more SCVs. Again, this is at least keeping Bjorn busy back at home. But he was going to be back at home anyway because of how greedy his opener was. He was going to be defensive nonetheless. So I still like Beyond's position overall. His third base now kicking in. We have extra scans, we have extra mules. Creator back at home getting into his Colossi. Double forge. I do like the double forge here from Creator, recognizing how defensive Beyond is being. So we can be greedy. So do see Creator basically containing his opponent. Still building himself back up. Still very vulnerable, but again, Beyond likewise building up himself. A couple of tank volleys up on the army. Third base now being taken. Oh, we do see the army though, so Beyond gonna take it slow. No rushing into his third yet. There we go, does rotate around. Creator is going to be backing off, retreating back home, and the game is going to be settling. The game is going to be settling from here. Now, Beyond can go for some drop play. He's got Stim, got his Medivacs, he can be active on the map. Creator, can we keep up? Because of this DT opener, Blink is late. Blink is delayed here for Creator, so dealing with drop play is going to be difficult for the Protoss, at least until Blink kicks in. And even then, we don't really have the highest Stalker count. Creator rushing into a fourth here as Beyond takes his third. Honestly, a really good timed fourth. I love that we expand northwards as well, because technically this proxy gives him some scouting information, does get eyes on any kind of drop play from this side or any kind of ground push. So I do really appreciate this setup here from Creator. Back at home, Beyond still building up. I assumed he was going to be going for drop play, but no, he's chilling back at home. Establishing his third, waiting for it to get up and running. And now we're getting into 2-2. A slight upgrade lead here for Beyond, only slight. As Creator shouldn't be too far behind with his own 2-2. So overall, it's been a pretty passive, mid-game here, but it's just because of how dynamic the early game was, with Beyond being greedy and Creator going for those DTs. In the end, the Dark Templar didn't really do too much damage, but Creator was at least able to recognize what was happening and be greedy behind it. As a result, Creator does have an economic lead. Still is lacking a little bit with his army. Scan reveals the Dark Shrine. And the army, of course. Beyond rotating over. How many Colossi do we have? We have 3. Not bad. 3 Colossi. We have an Immortal. Tech is going to be shut down. And I'm not so convinced that Creator can take a fight yet. He has to be very careful with his movements. Very delicate micro here. As he's still building up his buffer force. Working towards disruptors. Remember, it's only one robo producing at a time. One disruptor at a time. Which means Beyond won't have that much splash damage he has to worry about. 1, soon to be 2 disruptors. Meanwhile, Beyond, he's about to max out. He's taking his 4th base, he's already got Ghost, he's got Viking production well underway, +1 ship weapons in production as well. This army from Beyond is looking quite terrifying. But it's going to come down to the engagement. Beyond does spot the army. Does see Creator pushing through the center. Scan will reveal Creator as well. As he will pull back. Zealots head towards the mineral line. They shouldn't get much done though. They get a handful of SCVs. 6, 7. Oh my god, 10 workers going to be going down as we have another run by here on the left hand side. The friendly fire from the tank doesn't help. 15 workers go down. Creator, the initial zealot run by really just distracting Beyond. And he gets even more damage done on the left. The entire mineral line goes down. Very nicely done here by Creator. He does stifle the economy. And now he can focus on his push. There it is. Second robo now on the way. I'm now less concerned. The problem with relying on one robo is that it means that if you take a bad fight, if you lose a chunk of your army, it takes so long to rebuild and remax. So I love the second robo. We have Storm in production as well. So we have multiple forms of splash damage. Every form of splash damage. Colossus, Disruptors, and Storm. And there's a Stargate on the way for a transition into Sky Toss. We're headed towards the late game. We're heading in that direction, but before we can get there, Beyond is moving out. He has +1 for his Vikings. He's got 2/2 for the ground army. Plenty of goes for EMPs. Good feedback. Very nice feedback on the Raven. Nova's zoning back the army, but a good EMP on the Archons. And he will focus one of them down. But he cannot push in. Sell a run by, distracts Beyond, gets a couple of SCVs. But again, so far Creator is doing a great job at defending, and now here comes the next step. +1 air attack, 2, 3 Stargates soon to be up and running. Fleet Beacon as well. We're working towards Tempest and Carriers, working towards Sky Toss. We're getting there, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take some time to actually get to that stage. Until then, I would say that Beyond has the advantage and he's in the driver's seat. It's on him to break Creator before he can get into Sky Toss. And the scan reveals it. Big scan in the main. We get eyes on all the Stargates. Beyond knows he's on a bit of a timer. He also knows to get ready for what's to come. As we speak, 5th base on the way. Soon to be a 6th as well. Turrets being thrown down. And we are going for a bit of a split push. We're splitting up our army. Creator likewise trying to keep up with the movement of Beyond. Zealot run by coming in again, going for the tower. Senses how it goes down. We pick off a ghost. Zealot say get into the mineral line. Beyond actually being pulled apart a little bit. He does leave a big chunk of his army here towards the left-hand side. And Creator is pushing in, and I don't know if there's enough. Good EMPs. Ghost does get sniped by that Disruptor. Nova does connect. Oh, risky move out of Creator. He does get caught out. We get 1, we get 2. 2 Colossus and 2 High Templar go down. Big pickoffs. Creator overextending, pulling himself apart. And Beyond, he's trying to come in from behind. Good Storm here on the army. Decent EMP. Oh, but that Storm did so much damage. And this flank from Beyond is being annihilated. We take down another Colossus. The Colossus count does get reset. That was a little bit shaky for both players, but as we saw, Creator, he plummets in supply, and it's going to take a while to rebuild, especially with carriers. Creator has to be careful. He cannot lose too much here in this fight, otherwise things will quickly snowball in favor of Beyond. Beyond, he's already remaxed. Creator warping in a wave of Stalkers, warping in a wave of DTs. We're going for the base. We're going for the planetary. The tower isn't done. The turret isn't done yet. Oh, but we're waiting. We're lying in wait. This turret will finish. We will have detection. We can see Beyond making 4 Liberators at a time, plus 3 ship weapons on the way. Decent Nova. DTs, they go in! And they barely get a kill on the planetary. The base does fall, and Creator, he can keep on pushing. Beyond, he's turning back around. Creator doesn't like what he sees. He will pull back. And Beyond still has a pretty terrifying army, but he does lose a base and 11 SCVs. Another CC going to take his place. This is going to be an orbital, not a planetary. This base is going to be significantly weaker. And Creator, he's getting away with it. Like, there was a big window where he had no Colossi, we had limited splash damage, no Storm. But Beyond, because of the DT harass, because of the Zealot harass, Beyond has been stuck at home defending. And Creator, he's gotten away with those carries. He goes in once again, sniping more of those libs. And he's just keeping Beyond busy, dancing with the army. While the carrier count is just getting higher and higher here for Creator. There's been a couple of minutes here. There's been a period where Beyond has had enough of an army to break his opponent, but he just hasn't been able to move out. Beyond, he hasn't threatened a base in quite some time. As he's distracted, 17 SCVs go down. Oh my god, the Zealots go ham! The Zealots and the DTs, 21 SCVs fall. At the same time, another DT counterattack is being set up as well, and Beyond is being pulled apart left and right. He's been wanting to attack for a long time. He has an army, but he's just been stuck at home. Once again, we come in. Liberator falls. These tanks are looking a little bit exposed as well. In his frustration, Beyond tries to stim one forward, but we have plenty to defend. And again, how many kills? Look at the carrier count. We have 4, soon to be 7. This entire time. It's been getting higher and higher. Scan does confirm as well. Beyond now aware. And to be fair, he is making 4 Vikings at a time. Like, he has a lot of anti-air. The problem here is the economy. Like, Creator, he has a bank. He has the gold. Beyond has been struggling a little bit more. Oh, rough choke point for Creator. The Archon. Archon goes down to Disruptor as well. Bit of miscontrol out of Creator. He does bleed out some high-tech units. Was not a good fight for the Protoss. Meanwhile, Beyond, how many Vikings do we have? We have 14, soon to be 18 Vikings. We have a good amount of Liberators. We have Ghosts. Honestly, Beyond has been doing a really good job of just refining his army and getting ready for the Sky Toss. Catches another Immortal. Right, Beyond, he's been trading well. Cleans up the run by. These have been a good couple of minutes here for Beyond. Is it enough, though? As his economy is getting back up and running, he has a gas bank. No minerals, but has gas. Meanwhile, do we have a mothership? We do not. I'm a little bit surprised. The mothership, honestly, is pretty good nowadays. A lot cheaper, a lot less supply. Has a lot of mobility with that recall. A lot of support that it does provide the army. A lot of utility, that's what I'm looking for. Non-stop scans. We're looking for DTs. As the DT does waddle away, we escape. We get out of there, Poppy. We get out of there. Space almost mined out already. No more gas to work with. And I get a read on where Creator is. And here we go. Finally, we're moving out. The carriers, they have arrived. And we have 10. Soon to be 12 carriers in total. My god. It's a lot of carriers. Is this too many, though? Like, typically against a Liberator-heavy army, we do want Tempest. We do want Tempest instead to pick away at those libs. Likewise, there's no Mothership either. Do we have any Storms? We have a couple. We have 2 High Templar. These are the only 2 High Templar for Creator. Drop on the right-hand side. Does catch a would-be base. Good EMP. You have some DTs to defend. Looks like we should be able to barely hold on. And again, Creator, he avoids the main fight. Stalker's almost getting caught out. The Novas! One connects with some Marauders, one Ghost falls, and we do zone away the army. This base is going to go down. There is no saving it. As I say that, Creator does pull back. The base does survive. I mean, these Vikings are pretty terrifying. The big thing that Creator is missing here is Ghosts. Sorry, Ghosts, what am I saying? High Templar. the Protoss Ghost. There it is. 2 more High Templar being morphed in. We need storms, basically. Without storms, there's nothing stopping these Vikings from collapsing on the carriers. So the Vikings have to be respected. As we're still making 4 Vikings at a time. So storms are going to be crucial. Basically, anti-air supports. Stalkers, Archons, whatever we can make. This base is still looking very vulnerable, and there's barely any mining to be fair, but we do need to deny it. At the same time, Beyond taking the right base and also taking the gold. But Creator, he's here to stop it. Has arrived at the same time pushing in. DTs will be cleaned up, but at the same time, looks like he's, again, should take down this base. Good Storm. Zones away the Vikings. Ooh. Good Nova as well. But you can see that Creator, he doesn't want to push in, because if he does overcommit, then Beyond pounces. Beyond will pounce. So it's a very delicate dance. At the same time, Creator also must feel a lot of urgency on him to kill this base so we can rotate over. DTs, they come in. The base towards the top left finally goes down. Meanwhile, so does the Planetary. Big pick offs there by Creator. Takes down 2 bases at the same time. Here come the Vikings. They got 1 carrier. One carrier does go down. Based on the sheer amount of Vikings we have, I wouldn't be opposed to a ground switch. I wouldn't be opposed to, if Creator does lose a bunch of carriers, to go into Mass Stalker. I don't think that would be a bad decision. What's another? Another carrier goes down. We're committing. At 1, 2 carriers going to be falling. Where are those storms? We have 1 High Templar. That is not enough. That is DT still wreaking havoc. Once again, going for the goal base, going for the CC, the orbital. Full pulling back. Again, this DT harass has been brutal. Just time and time again, getting workers, getting bases. Beyond re-establishing top left. Creator rotating around. Does recall towards the bottom right. Yeah, recall is on cooldown. And we catch Beyond completely out of position. The Vikings, they're racing back to the other side of the map. And we will kill a Planetary. We should kill a Planetary. Oh my god, the repairs! The repairs are too good. Beyond, he holds! Repairs just a little bit too good. The Vikings, they have arrived and Creator has to back off. This was not worth it. Again, I can't believe the base held. It lived. It survived. Beyond gonna be able to go back to mining. He has repositioned. And now Creator is in an awkward spot. He just cannot let these bases get up and running. Otherwise, Beyond will be the one to snowball out of control. As Creator, he needs to maintain his economic lead. Here we go. Stalker's gonna be forced back. Nukes on the way. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. Nukes are in production. Top left fully saturated. Goal base getting saturated as we speak as well. We're scanning, going back into carriers. Would you have tectonic destabilizers on the way? That is the Tempest upgrade. Tempest upgrade on the way for Creator. I would have liked Tempest earlier, to be honest. Now, I'm still not opposed to going for a ground switch, but Tempest would be another good route, an alternate route. And so we go Vikings, they take down another carrier. Creator, Rick's sending a little bit. Here comes the Storm. Storm grazes the Vikings. But the Vikings, they have no fear. They focus down 2 more of those carriers. There's only 2 left. And they rally in. The carriers, they rally into their deaths. Every single carrier goes down. We have 2 remaining here on the right-hand side. The Vikings have done their job. And now we're going to Tempest, but we needed these earlier. That's the problem here. These Tempests, they may just be too little too late. Raider is committing, takes down the Ghost. Decent connection with that Nova, but there's just not enough of a ground army. And Bjorn, he should be able to hold on here. We have more Stalkers on the way. Nova not quite connecting. We are resetting the Viking count. Again, I'm loving this ground switch from Creator. Resets the Vikings. Takes down a lot of those Liberators. Big connection there with that Nova. Both players are battered and bruised. Again, Creator still has a bank, but he's running out of gas. Ooh, no mining gas here at the gold. He is mining here towards these southern bases. Creator, he's just running out of gas in general, but he's pouncing on top of the army. The Zealots! The mineral bank coming in clutch. We focus down the libs. Tempest looking a bit exposed. Good kiting there out of Creator. Very nicely done. As they will focus down that base. Creator breaking through the planetary. Tempest, they do reign supreme here. Focusing down more of those libs. Yeah, and it looks like Creator, he may just have too much. It's going to be close. Tempests are falling to the Vikings. Tempests are falling one after the other. No more disruptors. And the Zealot reinforcements are a little bit late. Boys are being pulled. Creator, can he break through? Can we force some friendly fire? We cannot. The mines go off, but Creator, he has broken this goal base. And beyond, he's running out of money, running out of steam. Losing 28 SCVs. Beyond forced to back off. And Creator, he has an army. Not the highest quality army, as you can see. It's mainly a gateway force, mainly Zealots and Stalkers, but it's more than enough. The numbers are in favor of Creator. Again, his bank, his better mining throughout the course of this entire game is what's carrying him right now. Beyond just cannot keep up in the production. He's trying to. But Vikings are not the answer. There's only one Tempest. The Vikings are going down. We do go for a big stim on 4, but the Zealots are behind. We get a surround. Nova goes off. Doesn't quite connect, but does force a pick up. Good control out of Beyond. He's trying to hold on, trying desperately. This Creator is being forced back. But really, he's just waiting for reinforcements. We have Colossi on the way. Tempest are trickling in. A bit of everything, a bit of a kitchen sink. And again, Beyond, he was baited into making more Vikings when he didn't really need them. Didn't add too much to the fight. And good EMPs. Good EMPs out of Beyond. Probes? The boys are being pulled. Freeing up supply, I suppose. Creator, I mean, he's oversaturated. Like, he's running out of resources on his side of the map. Creator is running out of money. But we collapse here on Beyond. And it looks like this base is going to be going down. The Nova does connect. Does some friendly fire. But Creator, he is maxed out. He has a lead. He's in the driver's seat. And Beyond, he's struggling to survive. Again, I can't believe it's been 30 minutes. I'll be honest, it hasn't felt that long. Hasn't felt that long. I know the early to mid game was more passive. I know it was more passive here. But again, we're running out of money. We do get on top of the only mining base here of Creator. Shield Battery going to be going down at the same time. Creator pushing in. He may lose this base, but he wants the army. Creator, he should be able to collapse on this. Should be able to. Yeah, big Colossus swipes. Big storms as well. Oh my god. Massive storms. GG gets called. Bjarni runs out of units. He runs out of money. Runs out of everything. And Creator takes game number 1. GG. GG. Well played. Creator taking a lead in this series. Coming out on top here in a more macro-oriented game. Remember, winding it back. Bjarni wanted to be the aggressor. He wanted to be in the face of Creator, but he just didn't find the room to. He just wasn't able to get across the map. We spoke about the transition. We spoke about... Oh, hold on. Let him know. Looks like the upper semifinals has ended. So the rest of the cast is going to be joining us. But to wind it back, remember, Bjarni needs to be in the face of Creator, needs to be knocking down those bases and stopping him before he could get into his sky toss, before the carriers. Remember that. There was a window when Bjarni scanned and he saw. But Creator, to give props to Creator, did an amazing job at keeping Bjarni busy with non-stop DT harass, Zealot harass, army posturing, army movement. Bjarni never was able to apply any pressure to the bases of Creator. He never dealt any economic damage. He was just stuck perpetually on his side of the map. Creator, he had map control. He kept map control. And Creator, as a result, was able to get away with the carriers, with the sky toss, with a better economy, with a higher base count. And that overall led into the win in the end. With that better economy. And here we go. We're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion down in this series, looking to fight back. It is Bjarni. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss representing Club NV. Leading the series 1-0, 1 game away from advancing on to the grand finals. It is Creator. So we have confirmation the upper semis has concluded, and what is the result? That is the question. I do not know, as it looks like Funada the casters. It looks like they haven't updated the ESL admin. But checking the Wikipedia, it looks like Dark did take down Hero 2-0. Big win there for Dark. I'm a little bit sad that I missed it, but I'm actually quite happy that we saw game 1. Game 1 here was wild between Creator and Bjarni. And I'm here for a PVZ finals. But we'll see. We'll see if Bjarni can fight back, can bounce back, and force the ace match. I want to believe he can, but the pressure is on. It's going to be a Rex expand here from Bjarni, a single gas opener from our Terran player. So, going to be economic. Probe here in the natural, tasing away at those SCVs. Not able to get much more though. Did delay the CC, did force out a second worker. As Creator has still yet to go for his tech of choice. We go. See in the chat, Creator has 0 gas. Mate, Pap, you don't need gas. You have zealots. All the zealots you need, Papi. For days, for days. Aye, aye, aye. It's all you need. More importantly, I think more than just Creator having a better economy than Bjarni, it's also, of course, the fact that Bjarni's economy was stifled. He was never able to mine freely from a 5-base setup. He was just constantly forced or constantly losing SCVs and being denied bases over and over again. So, of course, a combination of the two. Creator, of course, having more bases to work with, a cleaner economy to work with. Bjarni, of course, struggling to get his own up and running. As we're going for a very different opener, it is going to be a Stargate Phoenix opener out of Creator. Let's go. Let us go. So something very different. As a reminder, it was 30 minutes ago, but in game 1, Creator did open up DTs, and it was a lackluster opener. The DT start wasn't really worth it. Later on in the mid game and in the late game, DTs were more than paying for themselves, but as an opener, it was lackluster. So we'll see if Creator can have a stronger start in game number 2. Back at home, Beyond going for his 1-1-1. Big shout out to Aldrich #1 in the chat for resubscribing with Twitch Prime. Papi Ga. Thank you so much for subscribing, for the support. Thank you. Hope you've been having a great day. Hope you had a great weekend. And thank you. Hope you enjoy your emotes. Hope you enjoy your replay packs. Papi Ga. Here we go. Creator moving out with his Phoenixes. He wants to try to shut down that Cyclone, but there's just too much on the ground. Beyond, he will hold. Mind Shot goes off as well. Doesn't kill anything, but does bruise and does soften up those Phoenixes. As Creator behind this opening up with a Robo. This looks like a Phoenix Colossus opener. This should be leading into a Robotics Bay into Colossus production on 2 bases, leading into a 3rd. There's the Bay as we spoke about for Colossi, and we should soon be seeing that 3rd Nexus. Meanwhile, Beyond is moving out. He has a pretty robust or pretty large army, all things considered. These are vanilla Marines, but his goal here is to deny the 3rd base, a 3rd that doesn't exist. A 3rd not quite here. He will delay it. Safety Immortal does get up and running. Behind this, Beyond going for his 3rd CC after the starport. Oh, can we bait out the shot? Oh! Ooh. Phew. We do bait out that Mind Shot. The Marines, they do collapse on the army, but again, they don't have stim. No stim, no combat shields. Regardless, DPS is still here, and we do force a cancel on the 3rd base. Very nice pick off there by Beyond. At the same time, Liberator going ham. Creator was distracted, and 6 probes go down. A very good start here by Beyond. He doesn't lose too much. He denies and delays the 3rd, and he kills 6 workers. A very good start. Behind this, he's going to be taking an economic lead, rushing into his 3rd base before getting into the rest of his production and the rest of his engineering base. Let's go. Now I get why Creator asked for the break. Wouldn't be able to hold on for that amount of time. Hold, Papi, hold. From here, Creator just trying to reciprocate that damage. Gets 4 SCVs here at the natural. Will be losing one of those Phoenixes. Creator trying to knock down that front door as well. So far, Beyond is able to hold on, but he will be bleeding out some units. Some of those workers. Hallucination Scout does confirm the 3rd CC timing. Up until now, Creator, he wasn't aware of that 3rd. Now is. Oh, and this 3rd base is so late for Creator. So, unlike the previous game, Beyond now has a massive economic lead. As ideally, the Protoss wants to be up a base compared to the Terran, and we're going to be even on bases. Never a good thing for the Protoss player. Beyond moving out on the right-hand side. Drop is spotted. Creator is aware. Your sack defense on the way. We do catch out the Cyclones. Not bad. Not a bad catch. Good force fields as well, as we do clean up some of those Marines. Very nicely done here by Creator. At the same time, here comes the drop in. Do we have anything to defend? Oh, we do. But probes are going down. Oof. Brutal economic damage. There are 7 workers full. Half the mineral line, essentially. Creator will hold, but his economy is still behind. It's still getting up and running. His economy is still struggling. Meanwhile, back at home, we do have 1 tank here on the high ground. We have a decent amount of Marauders. Yeah, good tank volley on the army. Creator will have to back off. He's rotating around, looking for another way in. Creator, he did spot the depot. Is aware of the 3rd, of course. And his Phoenixes are racing back home to defend against drop play. Yeah, the tank positioning a little bit too good. Creator thinking about maybe poking in, but yeah, Beyond will hold. And now with Beyond's better economy, we're getting into Ghost. We have Ghost Production, or sorry, a Ghost Academy. We have 2-2. Beyond still in control. Going for a triple drop on the right-hand side. Phoenixes are around, but yeah, the drop is going to unload. Phoenix is trying to slow down this drop. They're going to be focused down. They get one medevac. Yeah, they're going to get both medevacs as well. Good defense here from Creator, but at the same time, here comes the main army, and Creator's out of position. He's out of position at the natural. Colossus is going to fall. No shield battery, no overcharge. We force a recall. And Creator is just being pulled apart. We focus on even more Colossi. The recall was not it. Every high-tech unit goes down. And Creator, he almost has nothing left. He's got one Immortal, a handful of Gateway units. And he just cannot keep up. Again, the dominoes have been falling ever since the start of the game. The first domino was the denied third. We can catch a couple of units here. Mine Shot's going to be going for the takedown Zealots. Marauder's getting more done. 14 probes go down. Marauder's still alive on the right-hand side as well. And it's just becoming too much. And here comes Beyond with his death push, with Ghost now as well. He has EMPs. This base is going to go down. There's no saving it. It's how much HP? It's on 3 HP, Poppy. One more shot. It should go down. Creator, he barely holds on to it. His saving grace is he's on a 4 base economy. 3 HP. Ay, ay, ay. Regardless, Beyond getting his own 4th up. Building up more Marines. Marauder's a very bio-heavy army. And the problem is that without any splash damage, this army is terrifying. Without Colossus, without Disruptors, without Storm, there's nothing to stop Beyond. One Colossus comes out, but one is not going to be enough. Oh, Creator, he's supply blocked. Nice EMP on those Zealots. That's from here again. Honestly, there isn't really that much pressure on Beyond. Like, poking, prodding, rotating rounds is all he needs to do. He doesn't have to force the issue, as he's just building up a larger and larger army. We do have a massive amount of Zealots, I will say that. We do take some of those mine shots to the face. Zealot's going to be going down, and you can see Beyond just overwhelming Creator. Here comes some more Zealots, though. They try to buffer, and it looks like we barely break through the Marines, but we break through the line of Zealots. 2 Colossi go down. We're going for the 3rd. GG gets called, and Beyond will tap the series 1-1. GG. A much more aggressive game this time out of Beyond. Much more in the face of Creator. And Creator just could not keep up. Could not keep up with the speed, the drop play, the aggression of Beyond. And now we have an ace match. We have a game 3. Let's go. Let us go. So we're getting into that 3rd game, into the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on Solaris. You have Solaris coming up next. This is where it all ends. It looks like our players are asking for a small break. Hold on. Let me get my trusty Google Translate out. Okay. Yeah, it looks like they're asking for a moment here. I don't blame them. After a long series, Creator, he's like, I need to breathe. Beyond's like, okay. All good, all good. So it looks like they do need a moment. And this also gives us a bit of time to go over, I guess, the rest of the bracket. We briefly mentioned it before, but Dark did take down Hero 2-0. So Hero has been eliminated. Again, we missed out on the series, unfortunately, but regardless, Dark did come out on top, which means Dark is waiting for the winner of this series in the grand finals. Going to be either Dark versus Creator or Dark versus Beyond. It's going to be a great finals nonetheless. And if you're curious, the finals is going to be a best of 5. Best of 5, not a best of 3. So plenty more games ahead of us. But we are nearing the end of the broadcast, right? We have 2 series left. We have this game and then 1 best of 5 before we do take a bit of a break. Again, we're going to be having a couple of hours break here on the CranKy Ducklings before we dive into ESL Open Cup Europe. The European Open Cup is in, I believe, 6 hours time from this message. And we're probably going to be live for another hour or so. So 5 hours from there. Then ESL Open Cup Europa. And we also have to prepare for the rest of the week as well. We have plenty of IEM replays to go over. We have plenty of GSL qualifier replays to go over as well. So we are going to be going over those GSL qualifiers. Likewise, I was also given access to the OSC Championship qualifiers. We missed out, unfortunately. For the OSC Championship, we didn't get to cast any of the main event, which is a bit of a shame, but we have been given access to the replays, so I can sift over the bracket and sift over the tournaments, and we can have some casts. We can have some. As it looks like Creator has returned and we are diving into that third game. Let's go. The end of the semis is upon us. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris, we have our South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion, tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. It is Beyond. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss, the red Protoss player representing Club NV. It is Creator. Here we go. We found ourselves in the ace match. Again, Beyond having a much more aggressive approach on Oceanborn. He was getting so much value out of his drop play. Remember, forcing a cancel at the third base, catching Colossi, getting probe kills, getting the fourth base as well. Not quite getting the fourth, I should say, but killing workers at least. And catching out Creator on multiple occasions. Creator, he was surviving, yes, but he was never really living, unfortunately. He just never was able to stabilize and find his footing, as Beyond was able to eventually knock him down. But now we're here in the ace match. Again, Creator did ask for a small break. And in that break, what do you have for us? The probe is going in for a scout. Heading across the map. Trying to get a read on what's going on. Beyond this time going for a double gas opener, by the way. Double gas opener means a faster factory, means a delayed CC. Ooh, and Creator does confirm. He does see the factory. He's aware of the double gas. And he is going to be getting ready back at home. This will lead into just a more defensive play here. As the gate expand is upon us. And we will get into our check of choice. As a reminder, game 1, it was a DT opener out of Creator. Game number 2 was Stargate into Phoenix into Colossi. Game 3, what do you have for us? What do you have? As Beyond is going for a CC on the high ground. Probe coming into the main for our eventual tech. Classic has been very fond of throwing down his tech at the natural, but we can see the Creator is not one with Classic. He throws down his tech, it's going to be a Twilight Council instead. looking to be Blink Stalkers. I know the last time we saw Twilight Council, it led into Dark Templar, but this should be Blink from Creator, as he doesn't have a probe on the map, he doesn't have a proxy pylon. Meanwhile, Creator is likewise moving out with his initial Adept. Because that double gas opener, because of the faster factory, we do have double Cyclone production on the way here for Baibian. Cyclones, they have arrived, they reveal themselves to the Adept. Adept going to be able to barely shade away, and we'll race back home. Meanwhile, we're not stopping at 2, by the way. We have a 3rd and 4th Cyclone in production. That is a 2nd Rax before Starport, a very aggressive build here by Beyond. We could even throw down a 3rd Rax before Starport as well. Natural base is being taken. Yep, there it is. There's that 3rd Rax. So basically, we are delaying Starport. We're delaying Medivacs. We're delaying Medivac production in favor of building up a very solid army here of Marines, of early tank production as well. This is going to be a very strong push. This can lead into a 2-base all-in. We have seen players like Honmono and Gumiho embrace this and pull the boys with this timing where we build up towards 3 tanks. But Bjorn shouldn't go for that. I mean, he can go for a 2-base all-in, but regardless, should be going for a tank push. Eventually with the Medivacs. As we should be seeing a Starport soon thereafter. Meanwhile, Cyclones are applying pressure. Creator just chilling back at home, going for Blink. It is going to be how many gateways? Ooh, 3 gateways in the main base. It's going to be a 3-gate Blink into a 3rd. So with 3-gate Blink, we do have map control, or I should say this typically would give us map control, and we can apply a little bit of pressure. It is a pretty safe opener from Creator, and I do like this against what Beyond has. Speaking of, ooh, we're moving out before Medivacs. I assumed we would be waiting. We'd be waiting for the Starport, waiting for combat shields. But Beyond, he's for the way. It's a 2-base all-in. Honmono, is that you? Again, this is a Honmono build. He does this very often, and I did mention before that Beyond has been a little bit of a fan of Honmono in recent times. The boys are being pulled 2-base all-in out of Beyond, and Creator has no idea. He hasn't seen any of this until now. This is the first that Creator sees the army. Creator barely has anything. He has 6 Stalkers to defend. Tanks are pushing in. Volley's going to be going off here on those Stalkers. We have the overcharge trying to keep this army alive. Again, thankfully, Creator did open up triple gateway. So he has a decent Stalker count. He can go for another Warp in. He has the first Immortal in production. Yanni slowly pushing in. Stim is still on the way. This is hitting with combat shields. Catch a couple of reinforcements. Good movement there out of Creator. Probes are going down. Not the biggest loss, since Beyond is all in, but that's a lot of probe damage. Stalkers, they tried to come in from behind, but they got annihilated, and Beyond, he's breaking through. He's breaking on through, pushing on forward. Creator, he just doesn't really have much left to defend. We're down to 2 Stalkers. And Beyond, he has done it. He has caught Creator completely off guard with his pants down. Beyond, he's becoming hung, puppies. Ay, ay, ay. As he does rotate around, gets on top of this Nexus. Already killed the natural. He's not risking pushing up the ramp, so he's just going for the 3rd, getting secure damage. And behind this, Beyond, he's just chilling. He's just working on the next step. Stim is on the way. We do have a bit of a Stalker counterattack, but we have plenty of reinforcements back at home. GG gets called. There is no way out of this. And Beyond will take the series 2-1, taking down Creator. GG. GG, well played. Beyond will take the series here in the end. Creator unfortunately had nothing to scout. He had no observer across the map. He had no adept either. typically when you open up triple gateway blink, so 3-gate blink, you usually have a Stalker army applying pressure and containing the opponent to scout any move out. But Creator was staying back at home. He didn't have any presence on the map whatsoever, so he didn't scout the all-in until it was already in his face. It was a very late scout from Creator, very limited vision, and Beyond took advantage of that. GG, well played. GG, well played. With that, Beyond will advance on to the grand finals, and we have our finals ready for us. It's going to be Beyond versus Dark in a ZVT best of 5. Let's go. Let us go, as we are going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here. When we return, we're going to have that best of 5 grand finals. It's going to be amazing, going to be beautiful. It's going to be a ZVT. Really, it's all that we want. It's all that we did want here. A beautiful Zerg versus Terran matchup. Shouldn't be too long. We're going to take a couple of minutes here for our players to conduct their vetoes, and then we will have our final series of the night. See you then. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that brutal OST. Hope you enjoyed that break, because we have returned with El Gran Finale. We've returned with the grand finals of ESL Open Cup Asia number 215 It all ends here. It all ends now. In this Zerg versus Terran matchup on Equilibrium of all maps. Very interesting that this was not vetoed, by the way. Very curious as to what the vetoes were. Regardless, again, Equilibrium is going to be game 1, and we are spawning in. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Equilibrium, we have our South Korean Terran player. The blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Bjorn. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player going for a 15-15. Representing Talon Esports, it is Dark. Here we go. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. You can place your bets on who you believe will be this week's ESL Open Cup champion for the region of Asia. Will it be Dark or will it be Bjorn? Up to you. Up to you to decide. Predictions open. There we go. Ooh, as Dark is going to be having some fun. Okay, so very bold here. So Dark, he's going for a 15-15. It's going to be a 15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool. But he's going for a 15-15 with the gold base of all things. Very risky maneuver here from Dark. Back at home, Bjorn going for a Rax first, going for a Rax expand, not a CC first. So Dark will have an economic advantage here. Now, when it comes to the 15-15, this is basically a gasless opener. It is a gasless build. It is a gasless build here from Dark, at least initially. This typically would lead into roach play, but because they're rushing into this hatchery, I'm still feeling roaches. I'm still feeling roaches overall from Dark. Drones are on the way. They are being main-outed over towards that gold, and Bjorn has no idea what's going on. Bjorn, more often than not, does skip SCV scouts, so there is no worker scout from Bjorn. Reaper is on the way, but can he punish this gold? He needs to. There's no question about it. He does need to punish the gold. We'll see if he can. Dark now getting his queens on the way. Plenty of droning in production as well. And again, because how late the gases are, this should be roaches. And there it is. Roach Warren is thrown down from Dark. We're skipping Ling speed, and we will try to defend both these locations with roaches instead. And this should be leading into eventually a roach push. Meanwhile, Bjorn is moving out. Bjorn is moving out here with his Reaper. Checks the natural, does confirm nothing there. He's going to check the gold, does confirm the gold base at least. Ooh, and he will not get a drone. Good control out of Dark. Good control out of Bjorn. As they both save their own respective units here. Bjorn, I'm sure, a little bit upset about the gold that it was taken. Smoge, Papi, Smoge. Hold on, do we have Google Translate? We don't have we don't have a Korean caster. No. Smoge. Behind this, you see Bjorn going for a third CC before starport, so he's going for an economic follow-up instead. Bold move here by Bjorn, as Dark is taking advantage of that gas geyser. Meanwhile, hold on, let's see. Can I... Are you eating the gold? Okay, at the very start of the game, Bjorn was asking, are you taking the gold base? And Dark was like, no, what are you talking about? I have self-control. And then he took it. So Bjorn, he asked him at the start of the game if he was taking the gold. And he is. Here comes the Roach Ravager that we spoke about. Meanwhile, Bjorn doesn't have enough to defend. We have a bunker on the low ground. We have Cyclones in production as we speak. We should be able to hold on. We have a Marauder in the bunker as well. Very good damage on that first Ravager. Sorry, on the first Roach. One Roach does go down. Hellions from behind. Vile's going to be zoning back that army. Good shuffling there from Dark. Preserving those Ravagers, but I spoke too soon because one Ravager goes down. A second Ravager as well. Good target firing out of Dark. Does get a Cyclone. But he bleeds out every other unit. Down to 2 Ravagers. And behind this, we're droning. We're just droning as hard as we can. Dark just trying to force a reaction, just trying to gain value here, trade efficiently, but wasn't fully able to. Bjorn holds. Bjorn, he holds on. Remember, he took a third TC behind this. He could even rush into his own gold. Most likely, though, going to be taking the triangular third, and we're getting into the mid game. We're getting into the mid game with Dark having quite an economic lead. So I still want to give the edge to Dark. He was a little bit wasteful with his trade. You can see here he lost 4 Ravagers and 1 Roach, and he didn't really kill too much with it. So that is the first win for Bjorn, but he needed that to go his way. Meanwhile, behind this, Link speed is in production, so this is going to lead into Roach, Ravager, Ling Bane. But for the time being, we are stuck with Roach, Ravager. Creep is spreading. So now the game is going to be stabilizing. Bjorn taking his third base, as we mentioned, not going for the gold. Now going into his, oh my god, into a very delayed starport, actually. Very interesting out of Bjorn. Sorry, I didn't even notice. But a very delayed starport, focusing on his Rax production. Overseer is now going to be going down, so very delayed medevacs here, very delayed drop play by Bjorn. Hyperfixated on building up his bio army instead. And he's going to have quite an army. We'll see how this does fare for Dark. Bearing in mind that he's only going to have Roaches to defend. Not the most efficient army against a bio-heavy composition. Now, Dark did scout. I'm curious if Dark is going to be throwing down an infestation pit for infestors. For fungal growth, that will help. But now, Bjorn is pushing. Here we go, going for his double drop across the map. Meanwhile, Dark, he's already droned up to 3 base saturation, essentially, with that gold. Up to 56 workers. Which means Dark is now focusing on building up his Roach Ravager. Double drop head towards the main, but Dark is in position. He does see it coming ahead of time. He does force it back, and now he's going for his own push. Hits the third base. Bjorn out of position. He's not where he needs to be. Has a tank behind this at the natural. Has a handful of Marines. Oh, the drop does come in from behind. We get a surround. A good surround here from Bjorn. He collapses on the army. Likewise, who surrounds who? As the boys are being pulled, SCVs are going down. And Dark, he may just have too much. As the tank is biled. Yeah, we have broken the third base. SCV's doing what they can, but so much economic damage is being done. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1. GG. Again, a very wild game out of Dark to rush into that goal base. Initially, Bjorn was doing okay. It was unfortunate that Bjorn had gone for the double drop because we saw that it did no damage across the map. It wasn't at home to defend. It meant that that tank was more exposed than it otherwise would have been, and just like that, Bjorn takes a loss here in game 1, and Dark takes a lead in the series. Does take a lead. And we do have our vetoes. Okay, so game 1 is going to be Equilibrium. Game 2 is Oceanborn, followed by Alcyone, Side Delta, and Solaris. Okay. Beautiful. Sorry, I'm just writing that down. Just so we remember. Just so we remember. Speaking of game 2, Oceanborn. Let's go. Let us go. Again, Oceanborn, a much shorter rush distance by ground. Aggression can be quite favored here, and I'm sure that's not the last that we've seen of Dark's Roaches. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our South Korean Terran player. Down in the series, we're going to fight back, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Bjorn. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, going for a 15-15 once again. Representing Talon Esports, it is Dark. Now, this time Dark isn't tempted to take a gold. There is no gold base to tempt Dark, so it's going to be just a 15 hatchery here on the low ground. Now, to wind it back, as a reminder, just like that game number 1, 15-15s lead into delayed gases. Your gas is going to be late with this build, because we're going for a faster spawning pool, and this does typically lead into roach openers. Roaches should be on the way for Dark. Otherwise, we can get into Lings, but Ling speed is later than normal, and Dark will have less of a map presence that he usually has. As there's that spawning pool on the way. So again, just a really safe opener from Dark that does typically lead into roach play. We'll see if it will here. Doesn't always lead into roaches, but typically does. Meanwhile, Beyond back at home going for a Rax expand. Once again, no SCV scout. I don't fully like this. We didn't see an SCV scout in game 1. We're not seeing an SCV scout here in game 2. We spoke about this against Creator, but Beyond very rarely goes for SCV scouts, period. He often skips them in every single matchup just to be that much greedier, just to be that much more efficient. It's a risky thing to go for, especially against Dark. Dark, who is one to go for like 12 full openers, to go for pool first. Like, Dark does like to be aggressive here in this matchup, and it just feels so risky to not go for these early scouts just to be safe. Now, obviously, we can see that Beyond isn't being punished by any means. Like, a 15-15 is a safe opener, not an aggressive opener. So, Beyond isn't being punished for it, but it still feels so risky to do against Dark. Meanwhile, Reaper moves out. Dark, he's going gasless. He's going for an insanely late gas geyser. Okay, so Dark, basically what just happened here is that he skipped his Lings, and it's going to be losing a drone, though. Big pick off there by Beyond. But Dark, he skipped his Lings. He skipped out on his gases. So he got his gases even later, and he rushed into a very fast third. Insanely fast third base here from Dark, considering his build of choice. And insanely late gases from Dark as well. Which means this is roach play. 100%. 100% for gases to be this late. So I've only ever seen Dark go for this opener on Golden Aura. For those that are curious, Golden Aura is very similar to not Alcyone. Oh my god, what was the map called last season? The small map. You know what I'm talking about. But it's very similar to a previous map in the map pool last season, where Dark can defend with Pure Queen. He's defending with Pure Queen. No Lings, no Ling speed, no nothing, no gases. Just pure Lings to defend, sorry, Pure Queens to defend. It's something that you can get away with, and Beyond now responds as he does lose his Reaper. Ay, ay, ay. Show me the Google Translate. I'm trying to be quick. He said it's over, you win. Hold on, let me just double check. Okay. So Beyond, he said, ugh. Gasless, you win. Hold on. So at least he confirms, obviously, the opener. Wait, what does Dark say in response? Dark says... I'm having a hard time translating. Dark's like, talk to me. I know if anyone is a native Korean speaker, give us some translations in the chat. I understood the beginning. This response I don't understand from Dark. I think Dark said, "You're not going for a Hellion dive." I think he said that, something like that. I think he was like trying to bait Beyond in. Regardless, behind this, we're getting to our third TC. Dark just now getting into his gases, now getting into roach play. Just a really greedy opener out of Dark. See if Beyond can get into this. This is getting into his 5-rack setup on 3 bases. Starport on the way. Interesting, no add-on swap here for the Starport. We're going for delayed medevacs once again, going for a tech lab. Very interesting. So Beyond has no medevacs to work with. We do see Dark applying some pressure with these roaches. It is going to be just an 8 roach pressure here, but he does bust into the natural base, and Beyond doesn't really have much to work with. SCVs are going to be going down. Is this going to be worth it though for Dark? It gets 5 SCVs. Gets 5, gets 6 workers here towards the end. Good kiting out of Dark. Also denies so much mining time at the natural base as well. And Darky's perfectly fine back at home. Remember, Beyond, he delayed he delayed medevac production for this add-on swap in favor of making that tech lab, and as a result, Beyond, his economy is in shambles, not where it needs to be. Darky gets away with a fourth hatch rates in production, 1-1, Ling's speed for Lings to reinforce eventually. It's a really good start. Also, I'm bothered. What was that map called? I'm gonna check. The last map pool. 185. It was Near Humanity, that's it. Near Humanity is the other map that Dark you would go gasless on. Which was very similar to Golden Aura, in the sense that the bases were so close together you could defend with only queens and get away with a fast third. Which is what Dark just did here on Oceanborn. Gun dropping into the natural. Now finally getting to drop play very late here at the 7-minute mark. Do you get 1? Do you get 2 queens? 2 queens go down. Big pick us off, but we lose a medevac. Not like this. Medevac goes down. I mean, we at least got those queens, sure, but overall, I'm sure Dark is happy with that trade, bearing in mind that he has very limited maneuverability with this Roach-based army. Job coming back into the natural. The queen wants a second kill. He wants it, Matt. He wants it. Overseer just confirming saturation, confirming tank production. Again, because of the Roach Ravager, tanks are being forced out by Beyond. Speaking of, Dark is getting ready for his own push. He's cutting workers at 3 bases. He's at 68 workers, 3 base saturation. And we're just doubling down here on Roach Ravager. I'll be coming in too soon, though. Ooh, the Lings, they get annihilated. We're trying to get on top of those tanks. 1 tank goes down. We're going to get a second. And can we get the third? The tank barely will fall. And it looks like Darky has enough. He breaks through. Beyond has nothing left here. He has a handful of Marines. He's down to 3, down to 2, down to 1. GG gets called. And Dark takes a 2-0 lead in this series. 1 more. Uno más is all he needs. GG, well played. Again, a very greedy build out of Dark. Coming out ahead in the early game. Was able to, again, punish Beyond as well. Was able to shut down the medevacs. Was able to get a lot of economic damage done with his roaches. Remember, he killed 6 SCVs with his first roach push. And he forced a lot of lost mine time as well. And Beyond was just behind. He was just falling behind. And Dark was able to just snowball here into that 3-base all-in. And with that, Dark needs one more game here to close it out. What are they saying? Hold on, they're bantering right now. Bantering back and forth. What? I respect it. So Dark was asking, what was that build? And I agree. We were talking about the add-on swap. We were talking about the delayed medevac production. He was asking, what was that build? And Beyond said, it's a win build. It didn't work though. Ay. Regardless, we're getting into game 3. Could be our final game of the series. Let's go. Gonna be on Alkione. Hopefully we can fight back. Hopefully we can sink our teeth into a longer series, but it's not on us. It's not on even our Zerg player. It's on our Terran. It's on this player here in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione. We have our blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. Down in the series, he needs to fight back here and now. The pressure is on. It is Beyond. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player representing Talent Esports, his new team. One game away from becoming this week's champion. It is Dark. I'm whipping out the translate. Hold on. Show me more. So Beyond said this time, it's going to be a different outcome. Then Dark's like, oh, I made mistakes. And Beyond laughed. All right, here we go. Fighting words out of Beyond. This time, it's not going to be the same. We're going for a 2 Rax opener. 2 Rax Reaper out of Beyond. We could double down with a 3rd Rax. We could, but for now, 2 Rax Reaper here. This is designed to contain Dark. This is designed to get an economic lead. Meanwhile, looking at the openers here, Dark going for a hatch pool opener. Very interesting. Into a 3rd. Very greedy build here out of Dark. Wait, what? Okay. Wait, oh, he's scared. He's looking for proxies. I thought he was taking a 3rd base, but he's looking for proxies. He's expecting cheese. It is not, as the Overlord is getting across the map, and we are indeed getting up to 3 Raxes. It's going to be 3 Rax Reaper here out of Beyond, and late gas from Dark. This is a good start for Beyond. A very good start. Do I want to have a look at the opener? Sorry, have a look at what they were saying. Beyond said, let's finish this up quickly. Wrap it up, Papi, wrap it up. I want to get some food. Dark, calm down. And Beyond is laughing. Beyond is laughing, and here we go again. 3 Rax Reaper. So the reason why I say this is a good start for Beyond is because late gas. Late gas means late Ling speed. Without Ling speed, we cannot gain map control. We cannot shut down these Reapers ahead of time. It means that Beyond is going to have a lot of freedom. He's going to have a lot of freedom here to gain control of the map, to punish the bases of Dark, and to deny this 3rd. We'll see if we can. Again, really fast 3rd base out of Dark. 2nd Reaper has arrived. And more Reapers are on the way. Dark still not fully aware. I mean, he sees a lack of natural base, so he knows. He now knows what's going on. Dark is aware of the 3CC. Sorry, the 3 Rax. And he's amassing Queens. He's amassing Queens as we speak. Beyond now going for the expansion. Dark does see it. He's aware. It's going to be all about the Queens to defend. We do snipe the tumor. Very nicely done there by Beyond. And the question becomes, can Beyond kill this base? Can he kill this? Actually, he wants the tumor. Oh, he gets it. Big pick off there. Without the tumor, we cannot actually get on top of this 3rd. Dark, he cannot defend. He needs that tumor. There we go. Another one on the way. We need to spread that creep. That hatchery getting to half HP. Hatchery getting very low. Another queen has arrived. Dark, he is slowly getting on top of this army. Slowlings coming in. The queens. Oh, one gets picked off. A big loss there for Dark. Does focus down some of those Reapers. We see Beyond rotating around. Good control out of Dark. Does pull back. And he does hold. Dark is holding again. It's a very scary hold because he has no way to collapse on those Reapers. There's still 0 gas. But he saves the 3rd. That's what's important. Dark does save the 3rd base. Ooh, Lings are in position. Behind this, 3rd CC is on the way. Beyond trying to be very greedy behind this, trying to get into a longer game. Ooh, as he almost gets another queen. The transfuse are so clutch. We barely keep it alive. Queen's still getting very low. We do snipe another queen. We get 1, we get 2. And this is getting out of hand. 3 queens have fallen in total. Beyond now stopping Reaper production, getting into his tech lab, into his reactors, getting into stim, getting into his bio transition, into his marine transition. And again, without Ling speed, these Reapers, they can just have their way with this. There's so much freedom for Beyond. So much maneuverability. Takes down a 4th queen. It looks like finally he's going to be cleaned up, but he gets some drone kills as well. 3 workers go down. This is too much. This is too much. A 5th queen falls. The Lings, they're getting kited to death. Finally, Bjorn, he's down to 2 Reapers. He's gonna get another drone. And another. Behind this, Dark, he's double expanding. He has to. To be honest, this makes a lot of sense. Dark, he's taking his 4th and his 5th base at the same time. This gold is going to be so important here. So Dark is not out of this. He's taking a lot of damage. He's taken a lot of losses. And this stim timing from Bjorn is going to be brutal. This eventual like marine push is going to be insane. As Dark still doesn't have any tech. No Ling speed, no roaches, no nothing. Only queens and slow Lings. So if Dark can survive, if he can survive the first push, then he's gonna be okay. But then he can maybe stabilize. Maybe that's a better way to put it. He has the potential to settle into an even game. But for now, he's behind, and Bjorn is pushing. You can see Dark heavily just droning, establishing that 4th. Marines have arrived. Stim is done. We do catch some of these overlords. We supply block Dark. Big supply block there for Dark. Ling speed just started. But we have a massive amount of queens. Oh my god, how many? 12? 12 queens for Dark. We can defend against these Marines without combat shields. Without 1-1, we can hold, but 1-1 is about to kick in. These Marines are about to pop off. You see Bjorn checking the gold. We'll confirm the creep. Yeah, it does confirm the gold base. Good target firing out of those queens. There go the Marines. They do push on forward. We do focus down the medevac. Medevac goes down. Good target firing out of Bjorn. Does focus down those banelings. So good control out of Bjorn overall, but does lose his medevac. More medevacs on the way. More Marines are amassing 4th TC here. Bjorn, he's not doubling down. He's not going for an 8 racks. He's going for a 4th base instead. We're going for a longer game. Dark, he's stabilizing. He's stabilizing, Papi. We're now getting into bailing speed, into 1-1. Like, Dark, he's still behind in upgrades. He's still behind in tech. But if he survives a little bit longer, he can stabilize. I love the fast infestation bit as well from Dark. Fast hive. We're rushing into hive tech. Before he even has 1-1. Gold base is getting up and running. Double drop on the right. Bailing speed still not done, and Bjorn is abusing that. As here we go, the wing bane. Bailing speed kicks in! Bathing speed, it kicks in just in time. We collapse here on the Marines. We collapse on the tanks as well. Dark. Oh, cutting that tank count in half. He does hold. He does hold onto the gold. Hive is on the way for Adrenal, for Vipers. But more importantly, Ultras. This does look like Ling Bane into Ultra from Dark. No Hydrogen, no Roach Warren. Ling's going for a run by. They do force a reaction out of Bjorn. Bjorn forced to respond here. Does pull back home. Meanwhile, Dark, he's up to 82 workers. Nidus Worm is on the way as well to, again, keep the pressure on. And we are going to be settling into this. Despite the great start from Bjorn. Doesn't even matter. Not anymore. Getting into Widow Mines, into Drilling Claws. So Biomine here from Bjorn is pushing forward, clearing up a lot of this creep. Meanwhile, there's that Nidus Worm, and Bjorn, does he see? He doesn't. He has no vision. He has no vision of the Nidus. Tank slowly pushing forward here. We do get on top of the gold. As Beyond denies the goal base, there's that Ultra Cavern that we spoke about. Again, Link Bane into Ultra. The Nidus Swarm does finish up, and Links, they flood into the main. But there are reinforcements. There's plenty to defend in the main base. Dark, he's not getting any damage here, not any value. Nidus Swarms are going down at the same time he collapses on the Marines. Decent Baneling connection. But again, this Nidus was lackluster. Does slow down the reinforcements. But Beyond looks like he will kill this hatchery, or he's close. The mine! Oh, big connection. Marines, they are getting in position. Bane rolling in. Banelings, they head in between these CCs. They force cancels. But a very efficient trade there from Beyond. Again, it was a brutal choke point. Beyond, he does hold. And he will shut down the gold. As I say that though, Dark barely does survive. Barely takes down the tank, forces back the drop. The base is still very low and we're not able to mine from it. Beyond still in the driver's seat with the upgrade advantage. 3-3, halfway done for Beyond. Nidus not going to finish up. Hatchery goes down. Dark, he's still trying to recover here. He's still down in upgrades. Up in economy. Expanding on the right-hand side. Another Nidus on the way. Keeping Beyond busy. We collapse here on the army. Mine shot goes off. Decent mine connection, but we do clean up those drops. As Beyond does make his way into the main. And it feels like Beyond may just have too much. Darky's trying to hold on. Desperately trying to. But Beyond, he does hold fast here. He does clean up all those things. Breaks through. Gets on top of one of those Vipers as well. And we can see Dark plummet in supply. We have a tri-pronged attack here. And Dark, he keeps up with two of them. But not with the third. As the Marines, they're breaking through the main base. Drones are going down. Ooh, Hydra's on the way. My apologies. I thought it was just going to be straight up Link Bane into Ultra, but we've avoided the Ultra tech. We have avoided it. And Beyond, he just has too much. Again, the Nidus Swarms just weren't worth it. Some rough trades earlier. The dead gold was brutal. If we were able to hold on to that gold base, it's a different story. If we were able to take advantage of the gold, then maybe we can survive. But Beyond, he's not going down without a fight. He's looking to fight back in this series. It means they push on forward. 17 drones go down. And we kill another hatchery. And Dark just cannot keep up. The Hydras are trading as best they can. They do force back the Marauders. But again, GG gets called. It's just too much, and Beyond will take game number 3, putting a point on the board and keeping his hopes, his dreams alive in these finals. GG. Whew. Again, the opener was brutal for Dark, where he did open up Gasless again against what happens to be a 3 Rax Reaper opener. Beyond got so much damage done there, and even though Beyond's first double drop didn't do too much damage, his eventual push did. His eventual push towards that goal base was able to break through. Unfortunately, Dark was trying to go for all these run-bys and counterattacks. He tried to go for Nidus Worms, tried to go for Link counterattacks towards the left-hand side. Just wasn't able to trade well, wasn't able to get damage done. Did throw away too much, and Beyond snowballed out of control. And with that, we have a series. We have a series. That's what matters most here. Oh, what are they saying to each other? Beyond just said it'll be easy this time. And Dark is laughing. Easy, Poppy, easy. Let's go. I mean, I would love an ace match. I would love for this to go all the way to game 5. That's what I want, at least. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of side Delta, we have our South Korean blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. Fighting back, putting a point on the board. It is Byun. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player. The red Zerg representing Talon Esports, still one game away from winning this entire event. Can he close it out here and now? It is Dark. Here we go. Byun going for his Rax on low ground. This looks like a Rax factory opener. We've seen this a lot from Byun on this map. We've actually... The last time we saw this from Byun was Byun versus DRG over the weekend in KSL. Oh, second Rax. Thankfully, we're going for a second Rax. But we saw the Rax into factory from Byun. Did lead into a Hellbat push, into a Hellbat all-in against DRG. But here we see, once again, a 2-Rax Reaper opener from Byun, thankfully. I'll be honest, I'm not really fond of the Rax factory on side Delta. Not too fond of it, but here we go. It is going to be 2 Rax Reaper. From here, we can just expand, or we can commit to a 3rd Rax once again. But we would have seen that 3rd Rax by now. So 2 Rax Reaper from our blue Terran player. Meanwhile, Dark going for a standard hatch gas pool. For the first time this series, by the way, we've been seeing a lot of 15-15s. We've been seeing a lot of gasless openers as well. For the first time this series, hatch gas pool, standard opener, which means Dark does have access to link speed. Let's go. For the first time in this best of 5. Which means he should be fine. He should be okay. Now, this opener from Byun is designed to delay the 3rd and contain Dark for as long as possible. Contain the Zerg player. That's the name of the game. Maybe pick off a couple of drones. Maybe get a queen. But just delay the 3rd. Link speed is on the way. Dark has got 6 links in production as well. Reaper has arrived. We get eyes on the links, which means Byun is fully aware of what's going on. Is aware of the opener. As he does dance with the army of the Lings, they almost get us around. Oh my god. Good movement there out of Dark. Byun almost does get punished. Does check for the 3rd. Confirms that nothing is there. At the triangular 3rd, instead Darky's going for the linear 3rd base. Behind this, Byun going for a 3rd CC before factory. Very greedy follow-up. Before the natural's even done, before the factory is on the way, 3rd CC is in production for Byun. Being hyper greedy here. And we'll see if he can get away with it. Now, the downside is that Byun is vulnerable to a Bane Bust. If Dark makes more lings, if he throws down a Baneling Nest, then Byun could just die. Dark, he's coming in. He does see the 3rd. Uh-oh. Does see the 3rd base. How do we respond? Does Dark try to punish the opener of Byun? Or do we let it go and just drone? We're droning. Okay. We're just droning up, saturating the natural. Link speed kicks in, and Dark is hunting down those Reapers. Is trying to, at least. But the 3 Reapers do manage to bypass these Lings. They're hidden here in the middle of the map. And Dark will not come across them. The Reapers will make it back home. And the game will settle from here. Oh my god, Byun even going double eBay before factory as well. He's so greedy. Now the factory is finally on the way. Again, very late factory, which means late starport. But even though the push is going to be later from Byun, it's going to hit harder. It's going to hit harder with 1-1, with faster 1-1 upgrades. Faster 3rd CC, faster economy, larger army as a result. So risky build here by Byun, but he should be able to pay it off, or he should be able to pay off. Meanwhile, Reapers are getting surrounded. Good grenades, but we do lose one of those Reapers. And we should lose the others. Stark does catch them. Behind this, Dark did go into double Evo chambers before Lair. So a greedy follow-up from Dark as well. I do like this. So Dark, upon confirming the build, is going for those faster upgrades. Going for faster upgrades. Likewise, we do see Yan behind this getting into his finally starport, into the rest of his Raxes, into eventually medevac drop play. There's Yaddle and Swap. We should be seeing the starport on the reactor, and medevacs will be on the horizon. Beyond will soon be aggressive with his Marines. Meanwhile, Dark is preparing for the aggression. He's droning, getting up to 4 bases, taking his own gases. And this could just be pure Lingbane into Hive again, or it could be Lingbane Hydra. I'm curious, just because Beyond is known for his drop play, it may be wise to go into Hydras. The downside of going Lingbane into Hive into Ultras is your lack of anti-air, and specifically against Beyond, it may be too risky to go for that playstyle. May just be too risky. Yeah, there it is. Hydras are on the way. So Lingbane Hydra out of Dark. Double jump towards the north. Dark getting in position. Going for a 5th base. We'll see if Beyond can pull apart his opponent. Cheeky waddle by there by Dark. Isn't going to get away with it. Manlings are forced back. Dark even getting supply blocks. We'll lose an Overlord. We'll lose a Queen. Good pick off there by Beyond. Picks up a Queen, gets the hell out of there. Losing really only 1 Marine in the process. Meanwhile, Dark, he's been able to drone up to 4 base saturation. Decent worker count here at 77. 5th base on the way. Dark, his creep is looking decent. Not ideal here at these fringe base locations, which means Beyond could try to pull him apart. Speaking of, we do have a split push. We have a double drop towards the north. We have our main army here towards the south. Can Dark keep up? As Beyond is pushing forward. We do have a 4th CC behind this, so it's not a 3-base all in. Beyond thinking further ahead. Mine Show going to be going off, getting a bit of friendly fire. Beyond is threatening a push. But I will say, unlike the previous game, Dark is in a much better position here. His economy hasn't been stifled as much as it was in the previous game, in game number 3. Likewise, he has a solid army. He's ready for this split push. He has Lingbane, Hydra, both towards the north and the south. Dark should be fine. Ooh, and we're even getting into Lurker tech. Okay. Lurkers on the way. On the horizon. As Beyond is finally going to be working on his push. While he takes his 4th base, he is going to be moving through the center, clearing up a lot of this creep. Still has that double jump on the right. Set by a mine army. And Dark is in position. As long as he's able to keep up with respreading that creep, he should be okay. Does force Beyond back, dropping into the main. Likewise, Beyond pushing here through the center. Dark is in position, he gets the surround! Ooh, collapses on the Marines, a big overextension here by Beyond. Loses a massive chunk of his army. Again, Beyond just pushing far too much, far too deep onto creep there. Was punished for it. Drop into the main, barely does survive. But there it is. The Lunkers, they're on the way, papi. They're on the way. 9 Lunkers in production. Dark, he's almost there. Nidus into the main base. Beyond does spot it though. Boys are being pulled. Only 2 Marines though. Uh oh. It's going to be close, but it looks like the Nidus will not finish. Yeah, turret's on the way. Nidus swarm towards the south instead. And what is in those that Nidus swarm? The Lurkers. The Lurkers are all in that Nidus, ready to try to punish this southern base. But the mines are being shut down. The Lurkers should soon be on the way. As Bjorn is gaining ground. Again, he still hasn't been able to threaten these bases. Dark going for a counterattack. Lings, they get into the mineral line, where SCVs are going to be going down. Bjorn racing back home. The Lurkers, they get in. They do get on top of that planetary in this base. It's going to go down. Bjorn, he has to reciprocate. He will kill a hatchery, but he loses 35 SCVs already. And Dark, he's escaping with what he can. That's a kill on the planetary. And Dark, he will make it back home. Bailings, they're not done. He wants more. He's coming back in. Nidus into the main. Shouldn't finish. But Dark, he doesn't manage to bust into the natural base. That's really good damage though. 43 SCVs went down. Bjorn knocked down to 3 bases, and Dark, he's in control. He's remaxing with Morling Bane. Not the best fight here from Dark. Ooh, a brutal trade. Does run into a wall of Terran. We have Lurkers from the south. Decent snipes, but there's just too many Lurkers, too much momentum, and Bjorn is in so much trouble. The Bailey connections. We collapse on the Marines. Nidus swarm behind the army as well. Working against Dark a little bit. We contaminate the CC. We take down the 3rd, and Bjorn is down to 2 bases left here. Again, Dark, he was able to stabilize. He was able to have a solid mid-game. Didn't lose any of his economy. GG gets called. Bjorn has nothing left, and Dark will take the series 3-1, becoming this week's ESL Open Cup Asia champion. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Dark for taking the series, for taking down Bjorn. Again, he had a very stable early to mid game. If you remember, Dark was able to get into his 3rd, into his 4th, into his 5th. We saw that Bjorn was trying to go for some split drops, some drop play, but he was never able to kill any workers, never really stifled the economy of Dark. Dark able to just comfortably get into his 5-base setup, max out on Lingbane, Lurker, and pull Bjorn apart. Bjorn, unfortunately, at the time, as Dark was counterattacking with Lurkers, Bjorn was out of the map. He was out of the map with both of his armies. He had very little at home to defend, and Dark snowballed out of control. The Ghost came out, but again, a little bit too little too late there. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Dark. A strong series. He almost 3-0'd, but again, Bjorn, he had a fancy game 3 on Alcyone. 3x Reaper, Mass Reaper, never fails. Something that Bjorn can always rely on, especially when Dark is being too greedy. Again, Dark was 100% core with his pants down in game 3, but able to tighten things up in game number 4. Like a solid game from Dark. GG, well played. Congratulations. Congratulations to Dark. And with that, we have this week's Asia champion, but we still have the Americas and Europe up ahead of us. We still have plenty more to come. And check it out. It's going to be, I believe, in 4.5 hours. So we have a couple of hours of break here in between tournaments. But in 4.5 hours, we're going to be back. We're going to be live with ESL Open Cup Europe. Europa is going to be here. And yeah, we're going to be live here on the channel with it. So until then, enjoy some of the streams. Enjoy the break. We're going to be giving another streamer a raid. Eba is live, so we'll raid Eba, papi. We'll raid Eba. Give him some love. Give him some support. as Eva has been laddering. But yeah, until then, we're going to be heading off for the night. Tomorrow, we're going to be most likely going over the GSL qualifiers. The day after, we're going to be going over ESL Open Cup Americas. Americas, it does depend on when the replays are available, so we'll see when we can cast some Americas. Likewise, I Am Katowice qualifiers are going to be, qualifiers? I Am Katowice group stage is going to be live on this channel this week as well. And what else do we have going on? We have the Logic Games on Saturday. We have the return of Sparkling Tuna Cup. Our tournaments, they come back on the 25th at the end of February. So keep an eye out for that for the Tuna Cup. We have the Platinum Hyper Cup as well, also on Saturday. We have the ESL Open Cups, and the Duckling Showdown is not this week. We're taking a break from the Club NV Duckling Showdown this week. Next week, we're coming back with some more beautiful show matches. So keep an eye out on social media for the announced show matches for what is coming up next on the channel. Keep an eye out. Otherwise, thank you for watching. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We are also live and co-streaming on YouTube, so you can check us out on YouTube as well. And you can also follow us on Discord, where we do post whenever we go live every single day. Every day, buddy, every day. Hold on, I'm just responding to a comment. But with that, thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thanks for the support. We'll see you guys in a couple of hours for ESL Open Cup Europe. Until then, hasta luego. Hasta luego, papi. Hasta luego. Take care, everyone. Take care. Make sure to hydrate Hydra, switch roaches, massage your marines, and drain your disruptors. We'll be back with some more StarCraft later on tonight. Hasta luego. Ciao.